Family cultivation. My mobile phone traveled through time. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 401. Xuanji passes away. The elder talked about the plan and the strategy of attacking the black bear leader. Xuanji frowned slightly and said, "What do you need me to do?" "Nothing." The elder said, "You just need to watch. No matter whether you win or lose this battle, don't make a move. As long as you don't make a move, the situation can be controlled. Wars can be won or lost, which is nothing. The most terrifying thing is that the war goes out of control. Many people think that war is to defeat the enemy by any means. Saying this can only prove their ignorance and stupidity. Once a war enters an era of unscrupulous means, the war may go out of control, and the scale of the war will continue to expand to a point that both sides cannot predict. Therefore, smart enemies often have martial ethics and often want to control the scale of the war. The demons in the 10,000 mountains often fight with humans, and often fight bloody battles. There is a beast tide every 100 years and a big showdown every 500 years. But no matter how to fight, both sides will set a good time, determine the scope of the war, the level of the participating monks, and then start fighting. The advantage of this is that the scale and progress of the war can be controlled, and the war can be started and ended quickly. Similarly, this time, the Lu family, the Sun family, the Zhao family, etc., attacked the Black Bear territory and also abided by the rules of both sides. The elder will arrange it. Xuanji nodded. "You can wait and see." The elder smiled. "By the way, not long ago, Xuanji passed away." The elder said, as if thinking of something. "Another old friend has passed away." Xuanji sighed. "I will go to pay tribute to him and take Xuanji with me. It's time to pay tribute. Xuanji is alive and has a good relationship with my Lu family. Others may not be so when they come on stage," the elder said worriedly. After waiting for a while, Xuanji came out of retreat. At this time, Xuanji consolidated her cultivation and was already a Yuanian great cultivator. In order to consolidate the realm, it took a full 60 years. Xuanji said, "Husband, I miss you." "Xuanji, I miss you too," Xuanji said. As they spoke, the two hugged each other and had close contact. Soon, they fell into joy. Time was passing, and they always forgot about time in happiness. It took an unknown amount of time for them to stop. Leaning against her husband's arms, Xuanji said, "Husband, I was able to enter the nascent soul this time thanks to Sister Xiao. If she hadn't been willing to spend money to get a place in that secret realm for me, I might not have been able to enter the nascent soul. It's a pity that you only condensed the 8th turn of the golden elixir," Xuanji said with a little regret. "Husband, you are talented, so you naturally don't take the 8th turn of the golden elixir seriously. But I have limited qualifications, limited understanding, and limited talent. I can't compare to you, and I can't compare to Master Xiao. I can condense the 8th turn of the golden elixir, which is the limit. The 9th turn is simply impossible," Xuanji said, but she was relaxed. She was already very satisfied with everything now. In the past, she thought that becoming a purple mansion cultivator was a successful life, but now becoming a nascent soul cultivator is far beyond the standard. Xuanji listened and sighed slightly in his heart. Wealth, friends, law, and land. Wealth comes first. In theory, as long as there are enough resources, a waste can also become a genius. Xuan can save the non-crypt and can change fate. Only if there are enough spirit stones in hand can the fate of the cultivator be changed. In fact, this is also true. Those top cultivators can already change the spiritual roots of the cultivators. If they think that the 5 spiritual roots are not good and want to change them to heavenly spiritual roots, as long as they are willing to spend money, it is easy to do. With the help of his spirit stones, Xuanji's ice and fire spiritual roots turned into ice spiritual roots. Her mortal body was transforming into an ice soul body. Her fate was changing. It's a pity that, even if she continued to cultivate and spent a lot of spirit stones, she could only cultivate Xuanji into a genius, but not a top genius. The 8th turn of the golden elixir is the ultimate of Xuanji. As for the 9th turn of the golden elixir, it is impossible. Xiao's engine was extremely generous and once gave Xuanji some fairy gold, but it turned out that she could not refine it at all and missed the 9th turn. With Krypton gold, you can cultivate a genius, but you can't cultivate a peerless genius. At this moment, Xuanji discovered for the first time that spirit stones are not omnipotent. After the joy, Xuanji talked about the Yi family and Xuanji's death. "Let's go see him," Xuanji said. "Send him off for the last time. Back then, I was able to become a cultivator because of the policy of this patriarch." Xuanji said, remembering the kindness of the old patriarch. One should never forget the well-digger when drinking water. Some cultivators will not be good to someone explicitly, but some of the policies he has formulated benefit a large number of ordinary people. Back then, Xuanji was just a woman in the mortal world. Because of the mistest, she exceeded the age limit. But it was because of Xuanji's policy that she entered the Yi family and became a cultivator of the Yi family. The Yi family gave her some basic benefits, did not treat her harshly, and did not give her preferential treatment, but let her become a foundation building cultivator and enter a new circle. Now that Xuanji has passed away, it's time to send this old man off. After packing up their things and carrying some tributes, the two set off. When they arrived at the Yi family, they kept a low profile. But the elders of the Yi family still greeted them in person and led them to the back mountain, where there were tombs. There was an extra tomb in the middle. There were words engraved in front of the tombstone, which read, "Tomb of Xuanji. The soil here is still new. 1 earthen bun for each person." Looking at the tomb, Xuanji suddenly felt panic in his heart. If he sat down and passed away one day, would he also enter it and turn into a cold corpse? No. I want to live forever. I want to cultivate immortality. I want to be immortal. Looking at the earthen buns, the idea of longevity rose in his heart. I want to become an immortal and live for hundreds or tens of thousands of years. I want to live as long as the sky and coexist with the sun and the moon. "Senior, I'll see you off," Xuanji said, and placed tributes and gifts directly in front of the tomb. At this moment, a woman appeared, with a graceful figure and tears on her face. It was Yi Linglang. Yi Linglang said, "Thank you for coming to visit my father." Over the years, the Yi family and the Lu family have had a deep friendship and close relationship, and the two families have often intermarried. Xuanji said, "The senior has left, so I will come here to see him off." Especially back then, when the Lu family was attacked by the Yan Yang patriarch, the family suffered heavy losses and was at a low point in their power. Many cultivators in the Yi family were planning to attack the Lu family, but Xuanji rejected all the opinions, and not only did not attack the Lu family, but instead gave the Lu family some help, allowing the Lu family to get through the most difficult period. Chapter 402 Sisters Meet. Time is ruthless, and too many geniuses have passed away. Today, Xuanji is only more than 700 years old. For the long life of a Yuanying cultivator, it is just the beginning. But for many foundation building cultivators, purple mansion cultivators, and even golden elixir cultivators, it is a despairing life. At the beginning, when participating in the blind date, Wu Xiaoan of the Wu family failed to break through the purple mansion and sat on the spot. Sun Chao of the Sun family achieved the purple mansion, but also sat on the spot 300 years ago. Qian Zuantang of the Qian family became a golden elixir cultivator 300 years ago, but died in the beast tide. Zhao Wuling and Zhao Wuming, the two brothers of the Zhao family, also sat on the spot 300 years ago. I remember that, when it was time for the blind date at the Yi family, Yi Linglang became a golden elixir cultivator, and is still alive today. Yi Chinyu failed to break through the golden elixir, and under the heavenly tribulation, she turned into ashes, and only a tomb of clothes and hats remained here. As for Yi Bingyan succeeded in achieving the purple mansion, but died in the beast tide. The group of people who went on the blind date at the beginning was about a few hundred people, but only Xuanji, Yi Wanyi, Yi Linglang, etc. are still alive today. Walking in the Yi family, there are all new faces, and only one familiar person. Not only here, but also in the Yi family, most of the cultivators of the same generation as Lu Xuanji have passed away, and the cultivators of a few generations later have also passed away. The only familiar cultivators are the Great Elder, Lu Xuanming, and Lu Xuanwen. As for the others, most of them are new faces, and are not familiar at all. Among Lu Xuanji's 3 sons, Lu Fan has more than 300 descendants. Among his grandchildren, most of those who have no spiritual roots have passed away. Those with poor spiritual root qualifications and slow progress in cultivation have also mostly passed away. There are only 32 grandchildren who are still alive now, and they have all entered the Purple Mansion realm. Those grandchildren who have not entered the Purple Mansion would not live to this day. After all, the lifespan of a foundation building cultivator is only 120 years. As for great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, future grandchildren, great-great-grand, in just 360 years, Lu Fan has made a huge contribution to the reproduction of the family. According to rough statistics, there are about 500,000 descendants of Lu Fan. If we count the population that died in the beast tide and exhausted their lifespan, the number will be even greater. Familiar people are gradually passing away, unfamiliar faces are increasing, and the loneliness in the heart is also increasing. In the vagueness, Lu Xuanji has some understanding of the supreme forgetfulness and the immortal gate severance of worldly ties. The supreme forgetfulness is not ruthless and unrighteous, but the familiar people are gradually passing away, the acquaintances are getting fewer and fewer, the close people are getting fewer and fewer, and the feelings of the self are becoming more and more indifferent, and no one is worthy of his emotions. Severing worldly ties is not killing the wife to prove the truth, killing the husband to prove the truth, killing the son to prove the truth, but in the passage of time, parents, sons, wives, etc., have passed away one after another, and the connection with the family is gradually weakened, and finally dissipated. It's like a cultivator who will be very good and close to his son, but he is very indifferent to a certain 18th generation descendant. Moreover, some Yuanian cultivators are devoted to seeking the Tao, and have no wife or children in their lives. All their friends and enemies have passed away, and their feelings for the world will be even weaker. Please accept my condolences. Lu Xuanji said, the old patriarch of the Yi family, with the cultivation of the golden core, passed away at the age of 1200. He did not die in the battle of swords and weapons, nor did he die from the devil. He was lucky to pass away peacefully. Daoist friend, don't be sad. Being able to die peacefully is a kind of happiness. There are constant fighting and killing in the world of cultivating immortals. Many cultivators died in the sky, died from the devil, died at the hands of the enemy. Being able to pass away safely and die at home is a kind of happiness. Many cultivators died outside without leaving any bones, which is called sadness. Yi Linglong smiled and said, thank you, master, for coming to visit my father. I was sorry for what happened back then, please don't blame me. Lu Xuanji said, the past is gone with the wind. Everything that has passed is over. I have forgotten it long ago. Yi Linglong opened her mouth and was about to say something, but she didn't know what to say. Yi Wanai stepped forward and said, Sister Linglong, we haven't seen each other for a long time. It's a good opportunity to talk about something. Yi Linglong nodded. Yi Wanai pulled Yi Linglong aside. Linglong, how have you been these years? Yi Wanai asked. Not bad. When I arrived at the Shenshu Palace, I was valued by a supreme elder. After years of hard training, I have reached the 6th level of the Golden Core. I have a promising future and hope to enter the nascent soul realm in the future. Yi Linglong said, how have you been these years? Yi Wanai said, these years have been good. After arriving at the Lu family, Xuanji treated me very well. He delayed his own training for me. He could have been faster. Over the years, I have 2 sons, one named Lu Zian and the other named Lu Fan. They are both married. Yi Linglong listened and said, it is said that a supreme elder of our Shenshu Palace, Xian Zhenjin, became a Taoist couple with your son Lu Zian. They have a good relationship with each other. Some supreme elders just stopped it for a moment and gave up. I envy you two, living in harmony and loving each other. Yi Wanai asked some more questions. Yi Linglong answered. The two said some intimate words, like sisters. In fact, in that generation, their friendship was not very good or close, but more of a nodding acquaintance. But over the years, most of the sisters of the same generation have passed away, leaving only the two of them. Thinking back to the past, the originally distant relationship has become closer. As she was talking, Xuanji suddenly thought of some unpleasant things. Thinking of the powerful Xuanji, she felt very uncomfortable. I came here first, but gradually Xuanji came to the top, gradually overwhelmed her position, and began to take over the main position. But what can she do? She can only accept it. In the world of cultivating immortals, for some things, you have to compromise and give in. The combination of Xuanji and her husband is good for the Lu family, for the Danliang sect, and for many people, but not for her. Recently, Xuanji plans to become a Taoist couple with my husband. At this time, Xuanji said, "True Lord Xiao is an old-fashioned Chinese with outstanding talent. It is said that he has the talent to become a god of transformation, and has the hope of becoming a god of transformation in the future." Yi Linglong felt a little gloating when she heard this, but she still said, "As for me, I still have hope of becoming a nascent soul cultivator, but there is almost no hope of entering the god of transformation." Xuanji frowned slightly. Yi Linglong was like this, and so was she. Nascent soul and god of transformation are huge gaps. On average, 1 out of 100 nascent soul cultivators can enter the god of transformation, which is a great fortune. At the time of foundation building, she barely caught up and barely kept up, but at the time of Jinden, she had already begun to widen the gap with the top Xuanji. After entering the nascent soul, most of her potential was consumed, and she wanted to continue to catch up, but she was unable to do so. Gradually, she began to fall behind, and became a burden. Chapter 403 Xuanji's Distress. Key Refining, Foundation Building, Purple Mansion, Golden Elixir, Nascent Soul, Transformation of the Spirit, etc. are like a huge filter. Each realm will eliminate a large number of cultivators. Only a few geniuses can keep advancing steadily and never fall behind. Now, Xuanji feels that she is beginning to fall behind. Only a genius like Xuanji can accompany her husband and enter the transformation of the spirit together. As for her, she may completely sit and die after 1,000 years. She is just a wife, but it is difficult for her to become a Taoist companion for life. Thinking of this, Xuanji is a little depressed. Many times, the Taoist companion's qualifications are too good, which is actually not good. The cultivators around him can't catch up at all, and even their shadows can't be seen. The road is alone. On the road of cultivating immortals, at the last moment, there is often only one person left. Xuanji smiled, pinched the tassel subconsciously, and said, "Sister Linglong, do you have a Taoist companion?" "No." Yi Linglong said. "Sister Linglong, what do you think of Xuanji?" Xuanji said, "At that time, you should have married into the Lu family, but everything was missed. It's not too late now." Yi Linglong said, "If you missed it, you missed it. There is no regret medicine. Don't say these things anymore." Xuanji smiled and said, "As long as the heart is there, you will never miss it. Sister Linglong, why don't you marry into our Lu family? We sisters are together, and we won't be too lonely. Over the years, my husband has been busy practicing, and I have an average relationship with Master Xiao. Why don't you marry into our Lu family? Among the cultivators of the same generation, only you are alive." Yi Linglong refused and said, "This is not good. This is very bad." Xuanji smiled. She felt the hesitation and reluctance in Yi Linglong's heart, but she was just reluctant to lose face. To win over Yi Linglong, it was more of dissatisfaction with Master Xiao, anger, and silent resistance. In Lu Xuanji's life trajectory, the mysterious Yi Fixu, from her appearance to her departure, and then to her mysterious disappearance now, there is not much to say. Later, Lu Xuanji and she became a Taoist partner. At that time, the relationship between Xuanji and Lu Xuanji was very innocent. Xuanji did not want to find a junior as a Taoist partner. Lu Xuanji did not want to have any relationship with this Zhenjin. The relationship between them was very innocent. At that time, Lu Xuanji only loved her, and everything was beautiful. But until later, the relationship between the two began to heat up, and began to change from the relationship between seniors and juniors to the relationship between lovers. At that time, she was very unhappy. But what if she was unhappy? She could only endure it. Later, under the influence of Xiao Zhenjun, Hongfu, Ningxu, Langxuan and others also became Lu Xuanji's concubines one after another, objectively diluting her position. Even not long ago, she was able to prove the Yuanying with the help of Xiao Zhenjun. Xiao Zhenjun was very good to her, but this kind of goodness made her difficult to refuse on the one hand, but on the other hand, it made her feel bored. This contradictory psychology comes from women's jealousy and selfishness. Now instigating Yi Linglong and encouraging Yi Linglong to enter the Lu family is more to make trouble for Master Xiao, which is a silent resistance. I'm the first one to come. You are the third party. I'm the first wife. You are the humble third party. Of course, she dare not say this and cannot say it. She can only let Yi Linglong marry into the Chu family to demonstrate to someone. This is not good, sister. Don't say it. Yi Linglong refused again. Yi Wanyi stepped forward and said, sister, do you feel that marrying my husband is a bit shameful, or that you can't save face? In fact, it is totally unnecessary. The morals and rules of mortals cannot restrain us. That true Lord Xiao has already reached the 4th level of the nascent soul. Not long ago, one of my husband's maids, Ningxu, also entered the nascent soul realm. Linglong, this is your last chance. If you wait until my husband attains enlightenment and becomes a god, you won't even be qualified to be a concubine. Yi Linglong said, godization is not that easy to achieve. It is better to help someone in need than to give him icing on the cake. Yi Wanyi said, let's not talk about anything else. Let's talk about the nascent soul. Sister Linglong, I won't say much about how low the probability of attaining the nascent soul is. But if you enter my Lu family, the probability can be increased by at least 3 levels. Having said that, Yi Wanyi took out a token and handed it over. Sister Linglong, if you have figured it out, you can activate the token to inform me. If you want to refuse, just destroy the token. You only have 3 months to think about it. Leaving the token behind, without any extra persuasion, Yi Wanyi disappeared. Holding the token, Yi Linglong was speechless. She was in hesitation. At least, in the past, Yi Wanyi would not say so. But now, Yi Wanyi has changed. After hundreds of years, who has remained unchanged? After leaving the Yi family, the two set out on the road home. Without activating the escape technique, they just walked on the road, like ordinary couples, very casual. Lu Xuanji asked, Wanyi, what did you talk about? Yi Wanyi said, I persuaded Yi Linglong to enter my Lu family and be your concubine? Haha. Lu Xuanji laughed. Where in the world is there someone like you who directly puts women into the arms of your husband? Yes. Yi Wanyi said, Sister Xiao is very generous. She directly sent Longzuan, Hongfu and others into the arms of my husband. Without her tacit consent, how could those two people become my husband's concubines? By the way, there is also Ningxu, who will become my husband's concubine soon. Sister Xiao can do it, and so can I. I think Sister Linglong is very suitable. Where is there someone like you? Lu Xuanji laughed. It's not good for you to be angry like this. What else can I do if I don't do this? Yi Wanyi smiled bitterly and said, should I go up and fight with Sister Xiao and scratch her face? Or run away from home? Or should I just take a knife and stab you in the chest with a kitchen knife? Thinking of this, she felt bitter in her heart. Fighting with Xiao and scratching her face, she couldn't beat Xiao Zhenjun. Moreover, just when she was about to make a move, Xiao Zhenjun's other disciples and apprentices came forward to intercept her. As for running away from home, if she really left, someone would be very happy. As for directly stabbing Lu Xuanji, the idea was good. But she couldn't bear it. Thousands of means and tens of thousands of ideas. In the end it turned into helplessness. I'm sorry, Lu Xuanji said. In fact, I'm narrow-minded. Yi Wanyi said, compared to the generosity of Xiao Zhenjun, who always thinks about her husband, I'm petty and just think about some small things. Husband, just accept Sister Linglong. I'm quite lonely at home, and it's just right to have Linglong to accompany me. Lu Xuanji said, no, no, and Yi Linglong is arrogant. How can she be willing to be my concubine? It's hard to say. Yi Wanai said, if it was a few hundred years ago, Sister Linglong would refuse, but now she has been worn down a lot. The arrogance has dissipated a lot, and has become realistic. Chapter 404 I'm afraid. If it was a few hundred years ago, persuading Yi Linglong in this way would inevitably fail. At that time, Yi Linglong was arrogant and proud. What was a mere nascent soul? What was a divine transformation? Should I become an immortal and ascend to the 9 heavens? But now that she has lived for hundreds of years, experienced the difficulties of cultivation, experienced all kinds of suffering, and recognized the reality, let alone divine transformation, being able to become a nascent soul cultivator is considered good. At this time, persuading Yi Linglong again, there is a great hope of success. Of course, if Yi Linglong refuses, it doesn't matter. My husband, who is only more than 700 years old, has become a nascent soul strongman, and has a bright future. Such a peerless strongman, ordinary female cultivators are not even qualified to be concubines. Only those Chindan female cultivators with outstanding qualifications, or nascent soul female cultivators are qualified to serve as concubines of my husband. If Yi Linglong refuses, it will be her loss. Yi Wanai persuaded, saying some truths. Lu Xuanji listened and frowned slightly. It felt a little too much. He really didn't understand the world of women. It was just that for Yi Linglong, he felt average, and didn't have too many needs. Wanai, why do you have to do this? Lu Xuanji said. Yi Wanai said with inferiority, husband, I feel more and more that I'm not worthy of you. Xiao Zhenjin is a genius with the potential to become a god, and can accompany husband for life. Ningxu is the Taiyin saint body, which matches husband's physique, and will be the supreme cauldron in the future, and can help husband practice. Longzuan has the blood of the dragon clan, and the blood potential is high and unfathomable. Even Hanfu, who seems humble and inconspicuous, is also helping husband to deal with some chores. As for me, I seem humble and redundant. I have average talent, and can no longer keep up with husband's pace. I can only find Linglong to accompany husband together. Lu Xuanji stepped forward, hugged her directly, and said, you are you, the one and only you. Don't think too much. When I become a god, I will definitely take you into the god. Husband, I don't want to be a burden. Yi Wanai said with a firm tone. I don't want my husband to become a god and still be young after 1,000 years, but I will be exhausted and old. Lu Xuanji said, don't think too much. I have a youth pill here, which can keep you young. Yi Wanai said, the youth pill can keep your appearance young, but it is difficult to change the nature of exhaustion of life. My qualifications and understanding are average. But Sister Linglong is better than me in understanding and qualifications, but she lacks training, and has delayed herself. If I die one day, Sister Linglong will accompany you. When I worshipped the old patriarch, my heart was trembling. The old patriarch lived for 1,200 years and finally passed away. I also thought of the scene of my own death. I was scared, afraid of death. Yi Wanai said, sobbing. Lu Xuanji hugged her, patted her back, and comforted her. Who doesn't fear death? If the lifespan of mortals is only a few decades, it would be fine. But when you embark on the road of cultivation, the lifespan of key training is 120 years, the lifespan of foundation building is 240 years, the lifespan of purple mansion is 480 years, the lifespan of golden elixir is 1000 years, and the lifespan of yuanying is 2000 years. Isn't it striving again and again, and seizing life from the way of heaven again and again? The longer you live, the more you fear death. The stronger your cultivation is, the longer you gain, and the more you fear death. Ants are weak, and don't know how to cherish life. Kanglang is strong and cherishes life. Wanai, don't worry, let's go in here. Lu Xuanji said, holding Yi Wanai's hand, and entering the cave bead. In the cave bead, most of the adventures are blocked by the formation, and there is a grey mist that covers everything. At this moment, a box appeared in Lu Xuanji's hand. When he opened the box, a red fruit was placed inside, with dense seals on it to prevent the breath from leaking out. Do you know what kind of spiritual fruit this is? Lu Xuanji asked. What is this? This is the fruit of time. The fruit of time is said to extend the life of a cultivator by 1,000 years. Xuanji seemed to have thought of something and said, such spiritual fruits are extremely valuable. Among the many elixirs and spiritual fruits, those that can increase lifespan are the most valuable. In the Danliang sect, there is a 5th grade fruit of time tree, which bears spiritual fruits that can extend the lifespan of a Yuanying cultivator by 1,000 years. It is because of the fruit of time tree that countless Yuanying cultivators have joined the Danliang sect, which is a huge force and has become one of the rulers of the Chu state. The 5th grade fruit of time can extend the lifespan of a cultivator by 1,000 years. There is also the 6th grade fruit of time, which can extend the lifespan of a cultivator by 3,000 years. And there is also the 7th grade fruit of time, which can extend the lifespan of a cultivator by 10,000 years. Xuanji said, this spiritual fruit is the 7th grade fruit of time, which I obtained in an adventure. As long as you take this fruit of time, you can increase your lifespan by 10,000 years. 10,000 years of life. Xuanji listened and felt her head buzzing. Her husband had a great adventure. She stretched out her hand and was about to grab the fruit and swallow it. But at this moment, she saw her husband's faint smile, but suppressed the greed in her heart and said, husband, don't take it. This fruit of time should be left to you. You have an extraordinary talent. If you have this fruit of time, it will be of great benefit to your future path. As for me taking it, it's a waste. Xuanji smiled bitterly, suppressing the impetuousness in her heart. Long life has its advantages. The long life is constantly polished, and the probability of breaking through the realm will increase. Those immortal races have a greater probability of entering a higher realm. However, it is still a waste to leave it to her. Xuanji, the 7th grade fruit of time requires at least the cultivation of the spirit transformation to take it. Xuanji said, to be precise, it is best to take it with the cultivation of the refining void. If a Yuanying cultivator takes it, he will only be blown up by the drug and die. Then give it back to me. Xuanji said. Xuanji, you can disbelieve in yourself, but you have to believe in me. Xuanji said, I showed you the 7th grade fruit of time to prove to you that I have some treasures that can prolong your life. Don't think about it. I know. Xuanji leaned on his shoulder, obedient and well behaved. He became more determined in his mind. Only half a day later, the two returned to the Lu family. At this time, Changyuan Mountain had undergone a major change. The level of the spiritual vein was upgraded to the 4th grade intermediate level, and the spiritual vein was upgraded very quickly. But after all, it could not catch up with Xuanji's cultivation speed. As if thinking of something, Xuanji's mind moved, and suddenly a peach tree appeared in the medicine garden. Then, he began to transplant the 5th grade peach tree into the medicine garden, and cultivate it carefully. At the beginning, the 5th grade peach tree was a little sluggish, but gradually its vitality was growing, and it began to take root in Changyuan Mountain, and began to integrate into the entire mountain range. The spiritual vein of Changyuan Mountain was slowly improving and moving towards the 5th grade. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 405, The True Lord's Banquet. Swish. The peach tree was swaying, making a slight sound. There were no peaches on it at the moment, but there was a faint fragrance coming from it. Just smelling the smell here gives people a sense of clarity. Sitting under the 5th grade spiritual tree, just the Taoist charm it exudes is of great benefit to cultivators. Good treasure. Xuanji looked at the peach tree, and a trace of joy flashed in her eyes. With a 5th grade spiritual tree sitting in front of us, my Lu family can be considered to have a solid foundation. But such spiritual trees are very rare. Who did you buy it from? I didn't buy it. I killed a cultivator bandit on the way, and then found the 5th grade spiritual peach tree in the cultivator bandit's lair. Xuanji said, talking about the things he encountered on the way to the East China Sea. Xuanji smiled and said, my husband, you are so lucky. With this spiritual peach tree, our family has a foundation. However, a 5th grade spiritual peach tree needs 300 years to sprout, 300 years to bloom, and 300 years to bear fruit. It takes a long time to produce spiritual peaches, but we can't wait that long. It's okay. I have 3 ripe spiritual peaches here. Can I give them to you to try? Xuanji smiled. No need. 5th grade spiritual peaches can strengthen the origin. Eating them directly is a waste after all. It's better to make them into elixirs. Xuanji pondered and thought about the arrangement of spiritual peaches. Just one spiritual peach tree is not enough. It's better to cut some branches, transplant them, and cultivate them. Cultivate a large number of 1st grade peach trees, 2nd grade peach trees, 3rd grade peach trees, 4th grade peach trees, etc. Many peach trees are combined together to form a peach forest. Many spiritual peaches can adapt to cultivators of different levels. With the transplantation of the 5th grade spiritual peach trees, the spiritual vein level of Xuanji Mountain began to improve and gradually transformed into the 5th grade. Similarly, the aura of the 5th grade spiritual peach tree inevitably leaked out. Around the Lu family, a series of terrifying auras appeared, and they all explored, with greed in their minds. Many Yuanying cultivators, or Yuanying families, do not have a 5th grade spiritual tree. The 5th grade spiritual tree can be said to be the treasure of the family. Comprehending under the spiritual tree can improve the understanding of the family cultivators and increase the speed of cultivation. The 5th grade spiritual tree, the peach forest cultivated, can continuously provide a large number of low-grade spiritual peaches, earning a large amount of spiritual stones for the family. The 5th grade spiritual tree requires at least more than 100,000 high-grade spiritual stones on the market, and many times it is out of stock. Some Yuanying cultivators nearby showed greedy thoughts and tried to explore. Xuanji was not polite either and directly urged his mind to fight back. In the void, there was a buzzing sound. The invisible divine thoughts clashed and fought together. After experiencing the divine thoughts, some Yuanying cultivators gave in and chose to leave. Only a few divine thoughts were still lingering nearby, communicating with Xuanji. They also retreated after a while. Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief when he sensed the retreating divine thoughts. Those cultivators who coveted the 5th grade spiritual peach tree finally retreated. Just now, 15 divine thoughts flashed and came to test him. In the previous confrontation, he proved part of his strength, intimidated a group of tigers and wolves, and also appropriately exchanged some interests. In a certain spiritual place, a Yuanying cultivator withdrew his divine thoughts and smiled leisurely. Interesting. This person is lucky, we can make friends with him. The vitality contained in the 5th grade spiritual peach is also good for the Yuanying. If it can be refined into elixir, it will be very beneficial. Originally, he only planned to send a disciple to participate, but now he plans to go in person. Not only here, but also Yuanying cultivators in other places have flashed their minds. Testing is the premise, making friends is the result. In the previous test, they tested some of Xuanji's engine strength and laid the foundation for the next step of making friends. Of course, if Xuanji's engine's cultivation is too weak, they don't mind going forward to rob directly. There are no good people in the world of cultivation. If the opponent is weak and can be easily defeated, they don't mind becoming ferocious and going forward to rob directly. If the opponent is strong and it is difficult to bite, or the loss is huge, they are willing to become amiable and become friendly neighbors. Xuanji Mountain, the Lu family is taking action. The elder is arranging everything, and Zenjin banquet. For this Zenjin banquet, the elder opened the treasury, took out many spiritual medicines, spiritual rice, and many elixirs, spiritual meat, etc., and began to prepare for the banquet. It seems that it is not enough, so he went directly to some market towns to buy spiritual wine, spiritual fruit, etc. The banquet has not started yet, but a lot of spiritual stones have been spent. Looking at the bill and the material expenses on it, Xuanji frowned slightly. In order to organize such a banquet, the Lu family will go into deficit. In the next few decades, they can only eat porridge. But the great elder didn't care at all. A deficit is a deficit. A fiscal deficit is a fiscal deficit. These are all minor issues. In the world of immortal cultivation, efficiency and benefits are never emphasized, but safety is more important. Safety is more important than efficiency. In the world of immortal cultivation, where killing and robbery are constant every day, the first thing many cultivators think of is how to obtain safety, followed by how to make money, and how to improve efficiency. Holding this banquet will certainly put the Lu family in financial difficulties, but it can also enter the circle of yuanying and gain a foothold in it. After a month of preparation, the banquet was held. Changyuan Mountain has also become lively. In just a few hundred years, Changyuan Mountain has also undergone drastic changes. At the beginning, this was just a remote spiritual mountain of the Lu family, with only a second-grade spiritual vein, but after years of continuous operation, continuous expansion of spiritual veins, continuous artificial mountains, opening up spiritual fields, opening up medicinal gardens, opening up orchards, etc., Changyuan Mountain is now undergoing fusion. There are 3 main peaks and 72 small peaks here. In addition to the 5th grade spiritual vein in the center, there are 6 4th grade spiritual veins, more than 33rd grade spiritual veins, and hundreds of 2nd grade spiritual veins, which are intertwined with each other. There are many arrays surrounding each other. The big arrays are inside the small arrays, and the small arrays are connected to each other. The arrays are densely packed, and there are countless various preparatory arrays and hidden arrays. On the periphery, there are tracts of spiritual fields, about 1 million acres, where white yang rice and jade emperor rice are planted. In the center are some medicine gardens, where chalcedony, skylingsi, marrow washing grass, etc. are planted, as well as a large number of nirvana grass, pure yang grass, purple mansion flowers, etc. Many spiritual medicines are mixed together, one after another, and the number is huge. Inside is the Lu family's orchard, which has many 2nd grade spiritual trees, 3rd grade spiritual trees, 4th grade spiritual trees, etc., which appear to be numerous and dense. There are also some mountains mixed together, where monks live. All the Lu family monks are mobilized. The mountain gate is opened, and the guests are warmly welcomed. Spiritual food, spiritual fruits, spiritual wine, etc. were placed in different areas. We welcome all monks to come. Those with invitations will be warmly entertained, and those without invitations will also be warmly entertained. As long as their identity is confirmed, they will be welcomed in. As long as the lower level casual cultivators are not troublemakers, they will be warmly entertained. We don't care if the casual cultivators eat and drink for free. As the saying goes, coming to participate is to give face. It's best to have gifts, but it doesn't matter if there are no gifts. In just a short period of time, a large number of guests came. Chapter 406, Division of Chu Factions. On the top of the mountain, in the pavilion, Xuanji sat upright on a chair, sitting leisurely, holding a wine glass in his hand, drinking lightly. His sons Lu Xian, Lu Fan and others went to greet the guests. As for the foundation building cultivators and purple mansion cultivators, there were naturally corresponding Lu family cultivators to entertain them. As for him, he should sit here. If he went out to entertain, many guests would not eat properly or speak properly. Just next to him, Xiao Zhenjin sat there, smiling and sipping tea, saying, "Congratulations, you just walked around outside and got a 5th grade spiritual peach tree. You are so lucky. I have a 5-element fruit tree of the 5th grade in Xiang Mountain, but it cost a lot. It's just luck." Lu Xuanji smiled. "Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the distribution of power in Chu." True Lord Xiao said, "In Chu, there are sects, independent cultivators, and immortal cultivation families. All kinds of forces are intertwined many times, and there is you and me, and I and you. And in Chu, the ones who truly dominate everything are mainly the 135 nascent soul cultivators. They are the masters of Chu." "Wait a minute," Lu Xuanji said, "but I heard from the Great Elder that there are only 73 nascent soul elders in Chu." True Lord Xiao said, "The Great Elder of your Lu family is only a giant and cultivator, and some of the inside stories he knows are half true and half false. In fact, the number of nascent soul True Lords is far more than imagined. It's just that many times, nascent soul True Lords are traveling outside, or in seclusion, or comprehending some secret techniques, or they are guarding some secret realms, and rarely appear in the field of vision. Many cultivators can't see them, often because their level is not enough. After reaching the nascent soul realm, you will find that there are many nascent soul cultivators. Xuanji nodded, with some understanding. It was like the peasants thought that the emperor was someone who hoed the land with a golden hoe and ate meat-filled buns every day. He remembered that, when he was weak, and was just a foundation-building cultivator, he foolishly thought that the Danliang sect only had 3 golden core ancestors, and no nascent soul cultivators. After reaching the Purple Mansion, he learned that there were nascent soul cultivators in the Danliang sect, and there were quite a few of them. After reaching the nascent soul stage, he truly knew the number of nascent soul cultivators. How many nascent soul cultivators are there in the Danliang sect? Xuanji asked. It's hard to say, said Xuanji. In theory, you are both the head of the Lu family and the guest elder of the Danliang sect. When you reach the nascent soul stage, the so-called faction distinction is no longer important. Even the Xianling sect, Danliang sect, Chaosian sect, etc., are mainly focused on alchemy, equipment, and formations, and the divisions between them are not very clear. The so-called sect disputes between the power of the immortal cultivation families, disputes between independent cultivators and families, etc., are no longer important. What is important is to stand on the side of the state of Chu and join forces to fight against the demon cultivators of the state of Yu, against the 100,000 mountain monsters, against the monsters of the East China Sea, etc. Over the years, have you seen any nascent soul cultivators fighting each other? Have you seen the 3 major sects fighting each other? Because there is no need. At this point, Xuanji began to talk about the overall situation of the state of Chu. More than 130 Yuanying engines in the state of Chu want to live in harmony. I think someone should take the lead. Xuanji asked. There are 5 Xianzens in Chu state. They are Dongji Xianzu, Shengmeng Xianzu, Haota Xianzu, Bidao Xianzu, and Danliang Xianzu. Among them, Dongji Xianzu is the most powerful, and it is said that he is already in the late stage of fruition. Because of these 5 fruition, all Yuanying's engine can only choose harmony. As for those Yuanying cultivators who are not harmonious and choose to destroy, they have been destroyed long ago. Xuanji said, in Chu state, these more than 130 Yuanying's engine are divided into these 5 factions. We are considered to be the lineage of Danliang Xianzu. Xuanji nodded and confirmed his faction. Danliang Xianzu is his backer. Sure enough, this world itself is a huge network of relationships. In the past, Xuanji was his backer. Danliang Xianzu was the backer of Xuanji, and there may be a more powerful existence, which is the backer of Danliang Xianzu. Backers come one after another, relying on each other. True Lord Xiao continued, Dongji Xianzhen, who founded the Xianling school, left behind the Yi family, a family of immortal cultivators, in the state of Chu. However, after a long time, 6 of Dongji Xianzhen's disciples passed away one after another. In the Xianling school and the Danliang school, there are still some of his disciples, great-grandchildren, etc. But Dongji Xianzhen did not recognize them, and did not pay any attention. The Yi family, that is, the lineage of Yi Linglang and Yi Wanyi, are the descendants of Dongji Xianzhen. Dongji Xianzhen once had a Taoist partner, but they passed away, and had no offspring. The current lineage of the Yi family belongs to the descendants left by Dongji Xianzhen's brother. The relationship is also rather weak. It's just that the bloodline has been separated for who knows when the relationship became weak. In the state of Chu, the so-called Dongji lineage is very powerful, but also very weak. It is powerful because of a trace of connection with this Xianzhen. It is weak because after dozens of generations, the relationship is very weak. Life Xianzhen once left offspring and blood in the state of Chu. The Zhao family lineage of Chu is the descendant of this Xianzhen. This Xianzhen once had 18 sons, but most of them passed away. Now, only 2 sons are alive. One is Wang Xing's engine, and the other is Mo's engine. They are the sons of Xianzhen, and they are also the most difficult to provoke. It is best to stay away from them. Of course, if you really offend them, just go up and beat them up. As long as there is no death, that Xianzhen is too lazy to take action. Haota Xianzhen, if you accept 12 disciples, you can all pass away, and you have many disciples and grandchildren. Bidao Xianzhen was born as a casual cultivator, with no disciples or concubines, but he only instructed some casual cultivators, so these casual cultivators were automatically classified as Bidao lineage. Danliang Xianzhen once had 12 wives and concubines, but most of them passed away, and only 2 are alive. They are Bailing Zhenjin and Bingpo Zhenjin. He once accepted 15 disciples, but only 1 is alive, named Fiayu Zhenjin. He once had 9 children, but most of them passed away, and only 1 son and 1 daughter are alive. They are Yanri Zhenjin and Mingayu Zhenjin. By the way, Danliang Zhenjin's surname is Lu. According to the bloodline, you should be one of the descendants of Danliang Patriarch. If you meet Danliang Xianzhen, you should call him ancestor. Danliang Xianzhen, is he my ancestor? Lu Xuanji said in silence, but is this ancestor reliable? Danliang Patriarch is related to him by blood, but this generation gap has been separated by hundreds of generations, and has become very weak. Now, there are about 2 billion people with the surname Lu and Chu state, and these people are all descendants of Danliang Patriarch. There is a blood connection, but it is very weak. It's like on Earth. In the 21st century, a man with the surname Liu said, "My ancestor is Liu Bang." Chapter 407, Gathering of True Lords. Most of the so-called bloodline descendants still have some family ties within 5 generations. After 5 generations, the blood relationship will be very weak. After a long time, there is no telling how many descendants of the Danliang Patriarch there are. At this moment, even if he goes to call the ancestor with a flattering face, Danliang Xianzhen may not agree. Listening to the description of Xiaoyu Zhenjin, Lu Xuanji frowned slightly. Among the 5 major bloodlines of the God of Transformation, those cultivators with the title of descendants of the God of Transformation are not scary, and those concubines of the God of Transformation, disciples of the God of Transformation, sons of the God of Transformation, etc. These 3 types of people are not easy to mess with. It's just that the number of these people is a bit small. True Lord Xiaoyu said, there is a price to pay for immortality. The price is that one is still alive, but many of his companions, concubines, disciples, sons, etc. have passed away or died halfway. After a long time, Xianzhen Dongji was alone. Xianzhen Shengming had 2 sons. Xianzhen Haota was alone, and Xianzhen Bidao was alone. Only Xianzhen Danliang has achieved enlightenment for a short time, and he has a 5th grade fruit tree of time, which can prolong the life of concubines, disciples, children, etc. Now he has 2 concubines, 1 disciple, 1 daughter, and 1 son, but most of them are in their old age, and will not live long. Many cultivators will not easily accept disciples, leave offspring, or take concubines after they have achieved enlightenment in the nascent soul stage. They just don't want to make themselves sad. If the disciple has poor qualifications and passes away before the teacher, it will be a major blow to the master. If a large number of descendants are left, but these descendants have poor qualifications and most of them pass away before, it will also be sad. For cultivators of our generation, what we cultivate is freedom and ease. There is nothing wrong with taking more concubines and enjoying the pleasure of love. However, the concubines we take must have excellent qualifications, at least the golden core cultivation level, or have the potential of the nascent soul. If the qualifications are too poor, they will just die in a few hundred years and leave behind only sadness. Lu Xuanji said, I understand. Is there anything else I should pay attention to? Xiaoyu Zhenjin said, in fact, it's not a big deal. In the absence of major conflicts of interest, most nascent soul cultivators are amiable. Even if the strength of a cultivator at the 9th level of the nascent soul is far greater than that of a cultivator at the 1st level of the nascent soul, they will not step forward to oppress, but will get along with each other in a friendly manner. Only when there are major conflicts of interest will there be life and death battles. As if sensing something, Xiaoyu Zhenjin said, some guests have come, and there are quite a few of them. Let's go and greet 1 or 2. They are coming. Lu Xuanji was slightly nervous. In the past Chindan period, it was certainly a high level one, but after becoming a nascent soul, one can truly enter the high level, and come into contact with such a large circle. With a flash of their figures, Lu Xuanji and Jinzi arrived at the door, and went to greet them. Congratulations, fellow Daoist Xuanji, for achieving the nascent soul. A black-robed monk appeared at the mountain gate. His aura was somewhat cold, and there was even a trace of demonic aura surrounding his body. Although he was a human, he had some demon blood. He was none other than Master Mou. According to legend, Master Mou's mother was born into the demon race. Master Mou stood there, restraining most of his aura, but just a trace of energy that escaped could evolve into endless darkness. Thank you for coming, fellow Daoist, please come in, Lu Xuanji said. Haha, I'm free anyway, so I just came here to eat and drink. Master Mou laughed and threw a box over and said, fellow Daoist, you have achieved the nascent soul. I don't have a huge gift, so this is just right for you. Thank you, fellow Daoist, Lu Xuanji said. They were greeted and entered the hall. In the hall, there were exquisitely decorated food, as well as spirit wine, spirit fruit, etc., which looked quite luxurious. After a while, 6 nascent soul monks arrived one after another. They are Fiayu Zenjin, Mengayu Zenjin, Fixu Zenjin, Yaohuo Zenjin, Manhuang Zenjin, and Haotu Zenjin. Fiayu Zenjin has an elegant face, like a scholar, except for the light white hair on both sides of his head. Mengayu Zenjin wears a blue palace dress, and his breath is as cold as the moon, emitting a trace of coldness, which makes people subconsciously alienated. One of them is Danliang Xianzhen's apprentice, and the other is Danliang Xianzhen's daughter. Fixu Zenjin is a female cultivator, a cultivator of ice spirit roots, wearing a white dress with a blue ribbon on the hem of the skirt. She has a graceful and moving body, and her every move has a mature charm, bright eyes, white teeth, black eyebrows, cherry mouth, ice skin, beautiful posture, and graceful and charming. She exudes charm in her smile and attracts attention in her graceful demeanor. Yaohuo Zenjin is a demon cultivator of Yu State, and a strong man of the Hehuan demon vein. At this moment, he is dressed dignifiedly, like a lady. The Manhuang Zenjin was also dressed in simple clothes, and his burly body exuded a trace of terrifying aura. Haotu Zenjin was still the same, like an old farmer, giving people a rustic feeling. These were all cultivators who came in their true bodies, and there were also Yuanian cultivators who were in seclusion, and sent giant and disciples to come. Everyone was talking and saying some meaningless words. Lu Xuanji was also smiling and looked close. But they seemed close to each other, but they were also isolated, and wary of each other. Everyone was a 1,000-year-old fox, and it was impossible for them to trust a certain person. Many times, they talked too much, and became close friends. After talking for a long time, Master Mengayu said with a smile, fellow Daoist Xuanji's surname is Lu, and my father's surname is also rarely Lu, and I feel a trace of blood connection in you. Fellow Daoist, you may be the descendant of my third brother. Yes, I just had some guesses in the past, and it was hard to be sure. Now that I have met Master, I know that we actually have such a trace of blood connection. Lu Xuanji said with a smile, but such a blood connection is too far-fetched. We are of the same blood. If you have time, can you come to my Mengayu peak, to sit for a while? Master Mengayu said. Of course. Lu Xuanji said with a smile, but he didn't really plan to go. True, Lord Fiayu said with a smile. Dao have incredible talent. I remember that more than 100 years ago, you defeated Gu Changfeng, and seized 100 years of luck for our human race. That battle broke through the demon race, and the demon race also wanted to kill you. Although you have entered the nascent soul stage, and have a little self-protection ability, you still can't be careless. It is said that Wu Keishianzhen is the reincarnation of a great man who has swept all the way, and has been invincible. But I didn't expect that after reincarnation, he encountered you, and was defeated miserably. Lu Xuanji said with a smile, don't you want to kill him? He is the reincarnation of a god. The biggest advantage of the reincarnation of a god is that there is no bottleneck in the early stage. It only takes 200 or 300 years to reach the peak of the god. By then, he will be a great enemy of the human race again. Chapter 408, The Gift from Master Fiayu. After reaching the nascent soul stage, when the cultivator's lifespan is exhausted, he can activate the laws of heaven and earth to reverse his fate, and live a second life. After living a second life, and turning into a baby, he inherits the cultivation memory of the previous life. As long as there are enough resources, the cultivation speed will be frighteningly fast. Soon, he will recover to the peak moment of the previous life. The so-called bottleneck does not exist at all. If Gu Changfeng recovers to the level of God transformation, he will be a great enemy of the human race. Many true lords of the human race want to kill Gu Changfeng. True Lord Fiayu said, "Fellow Daoist, you have just achieved the nascent soul stage, but you do not know the secret of reincarnation. When you reach the nascent soul stage, your cultivation is extremely powerful, and you do not need to enter the mother's womb to condense into a fetus and live a second life. You only need to rely on your own life essence to transform into a congenital divine fetus, which can be said to be without a father or a mother, and it is a gift from heaven. When the second life begins, your cultivation is 0. But some cultivators, in order to recover their cultivation as quickly as possible, only need 1 day to recover to the peak moment, but some cultivators take hundreds of years to recover to the nascent soul stage. Fellow Daoist, do you know the reason? Could it be for the foundation?" Xuanji said. "That's right." Taoist Fiayu said, "There is no regret medicine in the world, but once you enter the nascent soul realm, you have the right to regret. On the road of cultivation, cultivators will inevitably encounter problems and have inadequate foundations. When living out the second life, you can reorganize the skills, recultivate, make up for the deficiencies in the first life's foundation, forge a stronger foundation, and enter a higher realm." Gu Changfeng, in his previous life, was the 5-colored heavenly venerable of the demon race, and his cultivation realm was extremely powerful. After living out the second life, if he wanted, it would only take him 3 months to restore his previous life's cultivation. But in fact, after Gu Changfeng's reincarnation, it took him a full 300 years to only reach the 8th level of the golden core. Why is it so slow? It's because he found that his foundation in his previous life was unstable. The skills and magical powers of his previous life all had defects and shortcomings. He spent a lot of time reorganizing his foundation and reforging his foundation. Not long ago, he went to Zhangzhou to try his luck at the supreme opportunity. Gu Changfeng is amazing, Xuanji said. Even the enemy was slightly impressed. He could suppress his impetuousness, not rush or be impatient, and move forward steadily, instead of coveting the cultivation of his previous life and coveting speed. This alone was beyond many cultivators. Gu Changfeng came to Zhangzhou and hid his identity. "It is impossible for us to kill him," said true Lord Fiayu. According to the spies planted in the demon clan, Gu Changfeng went to Zhangzhou to obtain immortal gold and condense the golden elixir to the 9th turn. If the golden elixir is condensed to the 9th turn, there is even a chance to become an immortal. Immortal gold is hard to come by, and the 9th turn is too difficult, said true Lord Hatutu. Yes, Gu Changfeng is indeed powerful, but immortal gold is too rare. It is almost impossible to obtain immortal gold, said true Lord Mingai with a smile. Legend has it that Dangji Xianzhen obtained immortal gold in a certain adventure and melted it into the golden elixir and entered the 9th transformation, forging an unparalleled foundation, and became a rare giant. Yao Ho Zhenjin smiled and said, he has reached the 9th level of the spirit transformation, and he only needs a little opportunity to touch the opportunity of the refining void. Fiayu Zhenjin said, back then, the 6 desires demon lord of Yu Kingdom also melted immortal gold and entered the 9th transformation of the golden elixir. In that battle, Dangji Xianzhen certainly defeated the 6 desires demon lord, but it also proved the strength of the 6 desires demon lord, and only then was the Yu Kingdom established. The topic of conversation among these Zhenjins was those powerful spirit transformation masters. In Chu, Yu, Shu and Ashen and other places, the population of the lower class people is difficult to count, and the number of golden elixir cultivators and the number of Yuan Ying cultivators are also difficult to count, but the number of existing incarnation cultivators is obvious. Chu has 5 spirit transformation masters, Yu has 1 spirit transformation master, Shu and Ashen has 8 spirit transformation masters. Under the leadership of these gods, they maintained a relatively harmonious situation. The lower level cultivators fought fiercely, but the higher level gods remained restrained. To a certain extent, the power of having gods is equivalent to having nuclear bombs. Nuclear powers will not fight each other. On the surface, the lineage of the 100,000 Mountains demon clan has 8 gods, which is more than the number of gods of the human race. They can sweep across the Chu state and the U state. But will these gods of the demon race take action? No. Because, if they want to take action, to destroy the 6 gods of the human race, at least 3 or 5 gods of the demon race will die, and the demon race cannot afford the price of victory. Whether it is the human race or the demon race, it is not easy and difficult to cultivate to the realm of gods. Just to expand a little territory, it is not worth it to fall in the end. Listening to these true monarchs talking about the situation in the world, and talking about the past and the present, Lu Xuanji's eyes flashed with envy. He wanted to say a few words, but he couldn't find a reason. He could only smile and listen to their discussions. After talking for a long time, everyone began to leave. The Xuanji conference also ended. With the help of this Xuanji conference, the Lu family showed its sovereignty and announced the rise of a Yuanying family. Similarly, Lu Xuanji also took advantage of this opportunity to enter the Xuanji circle, gain corresponding connections, and have certain power in the future division of territory, commodity trade, and commodity trading. For example, in the past, some shops of the Lu family did not have the qualifications to enter some markets, but now they do. Some places in secret realms that the Lu family did not have the qualifications to obtain, but now they also have. When Danliang sect, Shanling sect, Kaotian sect, etc. recruit disciples, the Lu family also obtains corresponding indicators. There is also a trading conference, and some auction products are also eligible to be obtained in advance. Similarly, some information, some secret books, etc. of the 3 major sects will also be open to him, and he can buy them at a lower price. These are the benefits of joining the circle. Just after the banquet ended, when everyone was leaving, Fiu Zhenjin quietly returned to the Lu family and said, Dao, I have something to trouble you. What is it? Lu Xuanji said. Danliang Xianzhen is traveling, and is not in Chu at the moment. If you wait until Danliang Xianzhen returns, it is best to go and pay him a visit. Fiu Zhenjin said. Of course. Lu Xuanji nodded. This token is for you. If you have anything, you can go to Fiu Peak. Fiu Zhenjin said, handing over a token. Lu Xuanji took the token and immediately felt a terrifying force on it, like a tide. As long as it is activated, it can burst out a blow of the 9th level of the nascent soul. Such a token can save his life at a critical moment. Obviously, Fiu Zhenjin is worried about him. If he encounters a powerful demon clan member who plots to kill him halfway, this token can be used to save his life. Thank you. Lu Xuanji bowed his hands and thanked him. He has just entered the nascent soul realm, only the 1st level of the nascent soul, but Fiu Zhenjin is a veteran nascent soul, a powerful man of the 9th level of the nascent soul, and the gap between them is huge. With this token, even if he encounters an attack from a powerful demon clan member, there is still a chance to escape. I hope you will never use this token. Fiu Zhenjin said, and disappeared. Just after Fiu Zhenjin disappeared, another Zhenjin returned quietly. It was Yaohuo Zhenjin. Dao, are you practicing the yin-yang transformation of the Hehuan demon vein? Yaohuo Zhenjin asked, his words cold and stern. Chapter 409, Invitation from Lord Yaohuo. In the middle of the hall, Yaohuo Zhenjin was wearing a light-colored dress, like a peerless lady, but at this moment, her beautiful face was cold. I don't know. I occasionally get some ancient scrolls and practice a little. Lu Xuanji said, it's just that this won't violate the taboos of the Hehuan sect. No. Yaohuo Zhenjin said, it's just that I need your help. What's the matter? Lu Xuanji asked. In New Country, I found a cave and need your help. Yaohuo Zhenjin said, I just achieved the Yuanying stage, and my foundation is not stable yet. I need to sort out my foundation. I don't plan to go out for the time being. Lu Xuanji refused. Yaohuo Zhenjin said, I invited you, mainly because I value your pure yang body. When you get to that secret place, your special physique can play a greater role. If you plan to go, I will owe you a favor. No need. Lu Xuanji refused directly. What a pity. Yaohuo Zhenjin sighed slightly and was about to leave. At this time, Jinzi walked in and said, since you invited us, we will go. but I'm worried about my husband going alone. I will go with him. Alright. Yao Zhenjin smiled. With more people, we can share the risk. I need to prepare for 1 or 2 months, and we will meet again in 3 months. Okay, we should also prepare as a couple, Jinzi said. After discussing for a while, Yao Zhenjin left. Zia, why do you want to go? We are unfamiliar with the country of you. It's not safe. I don't believe in the character of Yao Zhenjin. Xuanji said, we should focus on settling down now and constantly polishing our foundation. Husband, I just calculated it. This trip is auspicious. Jinzi said, the later the cultivation is, the more resources are consumed. After entering the nascent soul, I have to consume a lot of spiritual stones, spiritual medicines, and spiritual pills every year. After husband enters a nascent soul, the resources consumed are even more. If we only rely on the accumulation of Xiang Mountain, the accumulation of the Lu family is not enough. This trip, although there are many dangers, the gains are also great. Xuanji nodded and said, that's it. It can only be done this way. Many times, we go even though we know it is dangerous, just because we are short of money. The stronger the person, the more resources he consumes, and the more money he lacks. If you rob a giant cultivator, you will make a lot of money, but if you rob a nascent soul cultivator, you will be penniless. Recently, he has been counting the family's property. The family's property is not enough to support the consumption of a Yuanying cultivator. 3 months later, in New Country, in a restaurant in the mortal world, a man and a woman climbed up the high building and took out the token. Under the reception of the maid, they entered a private room. Dao is here. Yao Zhenjin smiled. Please sit down. Xuanji and Jinzi sat aside, waiting, and a man and a woman appeared after a while. Senior brother Wanking, junior sister Yaochi, you are here. Yao Zhenjin smiled and said, these two are the Zhenjins of Danliang sect. One is Xuanji Zhenjin, and the other is Xiaoyu Zhenjin. Yao Zhenjin opened his mouth and introduced the identities of both parties. Xuanji nodded. The two cultivators on the opposite side also responded, looking very close. But they were both wary of each other. After the greeting, tea was served, but neither of them drank the tea, but looked at Yao Zhenjin. Yao Zhenjin said, during one of my travels, I found a Xianzhen cave. According to my speculation, there are great treasures in that cave, but there are also dangers that are difficult to deal with. I need the help of fellow Taoists. Hua Shen Cave. Xuanji listened, and his eyes lit up. Jinzi was also slightly excited. At the moment when the two cultivators on the opposite side were excited, Yaokai Zhenjin also flashed a trace of fear. It is not easy to venture into the Shenhua cave mansion. Not to mention the various formations and traps inside. There are some unknown risks that are enough to bring death. Wan King Zhenjin also said, there are 3 possibilities for the cave mansion left by the Shenhua strongman. The first possibility is that it is the place where the Shenhua strongman usually rests. There are few formations, less power, and fewer treasures. The second possibility is that it is the nest of the Shenhua strongman, where there are terrifying formations and many dangers. The third possibility is that it is the place where the Shenhua strongman hides treasures, which is specially left for future generations. The fourth possibility, which is also the last possibility, is that it is a fake relic, specially used to trap and kill Yuanying Zhenjin. Although there are 4 possibilities, the fourth possibility can be emphasized. The world of cultivating immortals has various relics, various ancient caves, etc., which are of course extremely dangerous, and there are constant killing formations. But because after a long time, many formations have been severely damaged, and their power has decreased a lot, but it is much safer. But some ancient relics were artificially created to trap and kill some strong people. To kill people and steal treasures. The stronger the person, the stronger the ability to survive. Yuanying cultivators have immortal attributes and stronger ability to survive. It is easy to defeat Yuanying, but it is extremely difficult to kill Yuanying. Unless a Yuanying Zhenjin happens to be trapped in a closed secret realm or a closed cave, it is possible to kill Yuanying. Jinzi also said, is that cave safe? Yao Zhenjin said, I'm not sure, but it is very likely to be a cave of transformation. Of course, it is not ruled out that it is forged. Yaochi Zhenjin said, wealth and honor are sought in danger. So why not take a chance? If you want to quit, you can, but the news must not be leaked. Since I'm here, I have no intention of quitting. Xuanji also said. Everyone nodded. For this secret realm adventure, they used their relationships and connections to buy some top treasures so that they could withstand danger, even if they encountered a wave. But how should the spoils be distributed? Let's make it clear here, said Yaohuo's engine. Daoyao was the first to discover the cave, so you should occupy the third floor, and you should be the first to choose the treasures. We will divide the remaining treasures equally. If it is not enough, you can use spirit stones to compensate. Okay. We must sign the heart demon contract. Of course. Everyone discussed it, and it only took a moment to determine the division of treasures and sign the heart demon pledge. After the discussion was completed, everyone disappeared silently. After walking for half a day, they arrived at the small mountain village. This small mountain village is just an ordinary small mountain village. At this moment in the small mountain village, a group of people are holding a large-scale sacrifice to a willow tree. This small village is called Willow Village. The sacrifice is quite pious. Hiding his tracks, Yaohuo's engine said, more than 30 years ago, I came to this small mountain village and unexpectedly found a big tripod. This big tripod is just an ordinary stone tripod. It looks very ordinary, but there is a martial arts technique engraved on the stone tripod. This martial arts technique is mainly about refining the body. It can improve the combat effectiveness of the warrior by constantly polishing the body. At the peak moment, it can even give birth to spiritual roots. Yaohuo's engine moved her palm, and the stone tripod at the entrance of the village fell into her hand. At the same time, a fake tripod temporarily replaced the real tripod, and was placed at the entrance of the village. Chapter 410 Willow Village, Yin Yang Cave. This big tripod is just an ordinary stone tripod, not a magic weapon, but it is very sturdy. Yaohuo's engine knocked it lightly, and it immediately made a crisp sound. Everyone took turns to take it in their hands, and kept going forward to check it. They confirmed that it was an ordinary big tripod, but it was forged by special means, and seemed quite sturdy. There was a volume of exercises on the front of the big tripod, and some rough drawings, about 1,000 words. This is a volume of martial arts exercises. This world is a world of immortal cultivation. Immortal cultivation is the mainstream. Martial arts exercises exist, but most of them are not mainstream. Many martial arts masters in the mortal world, after decades of hard practice, cannot beat a cultivator at the third level of key training. There is no future in martial arts training. But on the stone tripod, there is a record of exercises called spiritual transformation technique. The spiritual transformation technique is divided into 2 volumes. After practicing the 6th level upper volume, mortals without spiritual roots can condense spiritual roots. After practicing the lower volume, the spiritual roots of mortals can continue to transform and even become heavenly spiritual roots. This technique is somewhat exquisite, but also somewhat useless. Xuanji analyzed, when you cultivate to the 1st level, there is a 30% chance of giving birth to spiritual roots. The 2nd level, there is a 50% chance of giving birth to spiritual roots. The 3rd level, there is a 100% chance of giving birth to spiritual roots. The last 3 levels are mainly for tempering spiritual roots, which can evolve spiritual roots. If you cultivate to the 6th level, you can transform into heavenly spiritual roots, but it requires high comprehension. This technique is exquisite, but it is useless to us. Yaohuo's engine sighed. Very useless. Others' engine also said one after another. The status is different, and the pattern is also different. For the bottom cultivators, awakening the heavenly spiritual roots and awakening the 5 spiritual roots are equivalent to a European emperor and a non-African. One is a top genius and the other is a top waste, and there is a big gap between them. But for the nascent soul cultivators, the heavenly spiritual roots are nothing. The offspring is immortal and has no spiritual roots. As long as a 5th grade spiritual transformation pill is taken, the son will immediately become a heavenly spiritual root. The son has 5 spiritual roots and poor qualifications, but as long as a 5th grade fortune fruit is obtained, the son can become a natural spiritual root. Similarly, in some immortal cultivation families, spiritual grass is planted on a large scale and spiritual pills are refined. Even to a certain extent, it is not difficult for all people to awaken their spiritual roots and cultivate immortals. At least technically, there is no bottleneck or difficulty. What is difficult is a lack of resources. If all people cultivate immortals, the spiritual energy that everyone consumes every day will soon make the world's spiritual energy dry up and enter the Dharma ending age. By then, let alone the transformation of the spirit, the refining of the void, even the number of Jiandan cultivators and Yuanian cultivators will be greatly reduced. For their own interests and to protect the orderly circulation of the world's spiritual energy, senior cultivators will not start the cultivation of the whole people. This technique seems exquisite, but in fact it is useless. Yao Zhenjin continued, do you see the mark on the bottom of the big tripod? Lifting the big tripod, I saw the mark of the yin and yang fish engraved on the bottom of the big tripod. Looking at this mark, Xuanji's head suddenly buzzed, and his mind was in a trance, as if he had entered a picture scroll, with black sky and white earth. In this world, the yin and yang energies are surrounded together, and the black and white colors are mixed together, evolving into the 5-element, time, space, fate, cause and effect, reincarnation, karma, killing, darkness, light, etc. The next moment, the void exploded. The black sky and white earth dissipated. Puff. Xuanji spat out a mouthful of blood. The other true lords present also spat out a mouthful of blood. Only true Lord Yaohuo seemed to have experienced all this, or deliberately avoided it, but was not affected. The artistic conception of the incarnation of the spirit, the black sky and white map. True Lord Yaochi said, with a flash of fear in his eyes, just a trace of the artistic conception of the incarnation of the spirit is to defeat us. If it is deliberately targeting us, we will be killed on the spot. The artistic conception left by the incarnation of the spirit is not deliberately targeting us, but it has the flavor of preaching. Jinzi said, but a flash of joy in his eyes. She practiced the 2-element illusion body, which corresponds to the changes of yin and yang. The yin and yang artistic conception just now inspired her the most. The power of the spirit transformation is like a mountain and a deep sea. The gap between the nascent soul and the spirit transformation is greater than the gap between the key training cultivator and the nascent soul cultivator, said the true lord of ghost fire. Back then, after noticing the abnormality of the stone tripod, I flipped through some ancient books and confirmed that a strong spirit transformation master had walked out of the small mountain village. That strong spirit transformation master returned here to sit and die in his later years and left the opportunity on the big tripod. If a predestined person can follow the breath on the big tripod and find the cave left by the spirit transformation master. I searched for 3 years and finally found the cave of the spirit transformation master. After a while, I came back injured. If all Taoist friends join forces to break this cave, we will each gain a lot. But if not, we can only hand it over to the sect. At that time, there will be nothing for us. Everyone looked at it and nodded in agreement. The formation on the periphery of this spirit transformation cave is indeed powerful, but for the Hehuan sect, it is nothing. Those powerful people at the 9th level of the nascent soul and those who are half a step into the god of transformation carry the 6th grade spiritual treasures, and there is a great probability that they can break the formation of the god of transformation cave mansion. However, by then, most of the treasures in the god of transformation cave mansion will belong to the sect, and they will have nothing to do. Who wants to drink soup when they can eat meat? Everyone left and arrived 100 miles away, on a lake. The cave is at the bottom of the lake, said the true Lord Yaohuo. Set up an illusion array on the periphery to isolate the perception of the cultivators. Junior Sister Yaokai, Junior Sister Xiaoyu, I need you to break the formation here. The true Lord Yaokai stepped forward, took out the array plate, and began to calculate. Jinzi also stepped forward, took out 3 flags, and stuck them on the ground, and began to calculate. About half an hour later, Yaokai said, this illusion array is a bit difficult. It needs to be broken with an array. Jinzi said, since Junior Sister has a way to break it, then I'll leave it to Junior Sister. As he said that, he took a step back. Next time, Senior Sister, take action. Yaokai said, and began to arrange the formation flags here, set up the formation nodes, and with the arrangement of the formation nodes were running. But the earth was shaking, the lake in front of him disappeared, and a portal gradually appeared. Yaokai's engine was the first to enter. Other cultivators followed closely and entered. As the void changed, a cave door appeared in front of him. Above the cave, 2 or 4 big characters were engraved. Yin Yang Cave. Swish. Yaokai's engine stepped forward and urged the power, but the stone door was extremely solid and did not shake at all. Kill. Awakens' engine urged the long knife, and the long knife chopped on the big stone door like snow, making a crisp sound. But the door still did not change. There were only some damages and some knife marks. The next moment, a force surged on the stone door, and the damaged position quickly returned to normal. Chapter 411 Entering the Cave. At the entrance of the cave, the gate was recovering. Everything was back to the way it was before. "Let's take action," said the True Lord Yaohuo. "Okay." Immediately, the 5 True Lords present began to gather their magic power and accumulate it, ready to use their ultimate killing moves. 9 Nether Fire. Attain Sword. 5 Element Knife. Absolute Killing Sword. Liangai Sword. After brewing for more than 10 seconds, the 5 True Lords looked at each other and joined forces to attack. Boom boom boom. Various magical powers attacked the stone gate, and the destructive energy impacted it, but the stone gate just shook for a while, and there was no sign of breaking. "The problem is a bit difficult," said the True Lord Yaohuo. "The defense of this gate is so strong that we can't break it at all." "Daoyao, let me do it." Xuanji stepped forward and said. "Please," said the True Lord Yaohuo. Xuanji stepped forward to observe the stone gate, and a formation plate appeared in his hand, calculating the defense of the stone gate and the formation on it. After a while, he said, "Fellow Daoists, the defense of this stone gate is quite strong, comparable to the defense of a strong man who has reached the state of transformation. With our means, it is difficult to break the stone gate. However, we need a key to break the stone gate. Fellow Daoists, where is the stone tripod?" True Lord Yaohuo was slightly stunned, but still threw the big tripod over. Xuanji took the big tripod and placed it in front of the stone gate, holding the seal in his hand. Suddenly, the light on the stone tripod was flashing, resonating with the stone gate. The stone gate was flashing slightly, and a black and white Teikai diagram appeared on it. "This cave is called Yin Yang Cave Mansion. It requires the ultimate yin and yang power to break the cave." Xuanji said, "My husband is a pure yang Taoist body, so you can drop a drop of pure yang blood on the yang eye of the Teikai diagram. True Lord Yaohuo, you are a Jiuai Taoist body, so you can drop a drop of Jiuai blood on the yin eye of the Teikai diagram." True Lord Yaohuo flashed a trace of hesitation. Because blood is hard to come by, blood comes from the heart. The blood essence of a cultivator is only a dozen drops at most. If the blood essence is lost too much, it will damage its own essence. If so, it will be fine. If the blood essence is leaked and falls into the hands of some enemies, the enemies can use the blood essence to curse, and then it will be a big trouble. "Okay." Yaohuo's engine hesitated for a moment, stepped forward and dropped a drop of blood on the yin eye. Xuanji also hesitated and dropped a drop of blood on the yang eye. But at this moment, the stone door made a slight sound, making a creaking sound, and the door was shaking and slowly opened to both sides. Everyone was happy and was about to enter. But at this time, Yaokai's engine stopped everyone and said, "Not right, not right. If there is a trap inside, we may become a turtle in a jar. If we enter it, if there is a powerful demon cultivator who intercepts us directly at the door of the cave, we will also be in danger. Finally, there is a powerful person who sits at the door of the cave and sets up a large formation to prevent accidents. If you are unfortunate enough to encounter danger in the cave, there are cultivators outside the cave to guide you, so you can avoid some dangers. If there are powerful cultivators who want to attack from the outside, you can also resist 1 or 2. Xuanji said, "Daoyao, what you said makes sense. When doing things, you should be cautious first." Awakens' engine also nodded. To reach the realm of Zenjin, it is not that you have practiced hard for hundreds of years, experienced countless hardships, and countless disasters to reach this point. How difficult it is, how lucky it is. Therefore, it is also extremely cautious, thinking about failure before thinking about victory. Don't think about what you can gain from it, but think about what dangers there are. Think about how to evacuate, prevent being wiped out, and how to run away first in times of crisis. maybe those purple mansion cultivators and golden core cultivators would be impulsive and hot-blooded. But they would not be. Instead, they would be cautious and leave more ways for themselves to retreat. Zia, you stay here. Xuanji said. Be careful when you enter. Treasures are secondary. Don't lose yourself. Jinzi warned. Junior sister Yaokai, you stay outside. Said Yaohuo's engine. Senior sister, be careful. Yaochi's engine warned. In this way, Jinzi and Yaochi's engine began to set up formation flags near the cave, took out many materials, and began to arrange defensive formations. As for Xuanji, Wang Qing's engine, Yaohuo's engine, etc., they did not rush to enter, but waited for the two to arrange the formation. The formation master is an extremely peculiar profession in the world of immortal cultivation. If the formation master spends a lot of materials and arranges a terrifying formation, with the help of the power of the formation, it is enough to cross levels, and the golden core defeats the primordial infant, and the primordial infant defeats the god. Of course, the formation master is only suitable for positional warfare. Only when the enemy attacks the formation master can activate the formation, and then the powerful power can be unleashed. If the enemy avoids far away and does not enter the formation, then the powerful formation will be useless and redundant. After spending 3 days, Jinzi and Yaokai's engine had already arranged the formation on the periphery. Such a formation can be used for attack and defense. Even if a great cultivator of the 9th level of the nascent soul wants to break it, it will take some time. Seeing that the formation has been arranged, and the retreat is guaranteed, everyone began to enter the cave. Jinzi, Yaokai's engine, etc., also separated a golden elixir clone to enter. When entering the cave, everyone was alert. Carefully observe the surroundings. The area of the cave is not large, with a hall, an alchemy room, a storage room, a retreat room, etc. 7 or 8 rooms. True Lord Yaohuo said, there is good news and bad news here. The good news is that this is just a place where the god of transformation takes a short rest. There are only some formations arranged on the periphery. There are very few formations arranged in the cave, or even no formations. The bad news is that the arrangement here is very simple, and there may be no good things. Everyone listened and sighed slightly. If it was the lair of the god of transformation, there might be some large formations, and there might be a large number of casualties. But if it was a place where the god of transformation took a short rest, there would be fewer formations, and it would be much safer. But the corresponding harvest would also be much less. Everyone walked forward and came to the center of the hall, where there was a large tripod. This large tripod has 3 legs, a round belly and 2 ears, and is about 1 meter high. There are dragon and tiger patterns carved on it, as well as some carvings of mythical beasts. Daoyao, come first. True Lord Yaohuo looked at Xuanji. Xuanji smiled and came to the big tripod and opened the lid. When opening the lid of the tripod, be careful and alert. As the lid of the tripod was opened, there was some medicine ash at the bottom, and some elixirs in it. Just a slight shake, the elixir inside decayed, and turned directly into white ash. The cauldron contains 5th grade elixirs, which can replenish the vitality of the divine transformation cultivators. However, after a long time, the elixir has decayed. Xuanji said. The other cultivators sighed secretly when they saw this scene. When entering some ancient caves, some elixirs decayed and deteriorated. This is inevitable. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 412, Distributing the Spoils. This big tripod is of the 5th grade, which is also very beneficial to Yuan Ying's engine. Xuanji said with a smile. Daoya Yaohuo, you keep it first. Thank you. Zenjin Yaohuo took the big tripod and activated the treasure collection technique. The big tripod was getting smaller and finally turned into the size of a fist and entered the storage bag. Then, everyone entered the alchemy room again. There was thick dust inside, and it seemed that they had not been in for a long time. There were 3 goods inside. This time, Zenjin Yaochi went forward to check and found that the pills inside were intact. Opening the first gourd, there was a fist-sized pill inside, which looked like a baby, exuding endless vitality and supreme good fortune. This is Yuanshan pill, 6th grade. Zenjin Yaochi was stunned. Legend has it that taking Yuanshan pill and impacting the moment of transformation can increase the probability of 3 layers, said Zenjin Wanking. The mind was swaying, and he was about to go forward to snatch it, but thinking about the signed contract, he immediately suppressed the restlessness of the mind. At the same time, he made up his mind to obtain the Yuanshan pill at all costs. Then, he opened the second gourd. There was a blood red pill in it, the size of a fist, with flames burning on the pill, and rich blood and ki burning. Dragon blood pill, 6th grade. According to legend, it was forged by killing a true dragon of the divine transformation and its essence and blood. If a dragon cultivator takes it, it can improve the blood level and break the bottleneck leading to the divine transformation. In the future, he will definitely become a divine transformation strongman. There is no suspense and no hidden danger, said the true Lord Yaohuo. Finally, he opened the third gourd and saw a green pill inside, with a pill pattern on the outside to seal it. What kind of pill is this? I don't recognize it. The true Lord Yaohuo shook his head. Wang King's engine said, I can't recognize it either. The only thing I can be sure of is that it is a very high grade, and it should be a 6th grade elixir. I don't know the grade, and I don't know its name. Jinzi said, it may be very useful, with the ability to seize the heaven's fortune, or it may be useless. Lu Xuanji frowned slightly and urged his mobile phone to scan, but the phone also had no answer. This is an unknown elixir, a rare elixir. It may be very effective, or it may be very effective, but it is best not to take it before it is confirmed. If you are not sure of the efficacy, but you take the elixir at random, it will kill you. Entering the refining room, it was empty and there were no treasures. Entering the other secret rooms, it was also empty. In the end, only the central retreat room was left. But here, there is a powerful formation blocking it. Boom boom boom. Everyone joined forces to attack, and the killing moves were like thunder. The formations on the stone door have lost a lot of power over the years. After holding on for a while, the door opened. In front of him was a bed forged with white jade. There was a storage bag on the bed. When he opened the bag, he found that there were only 1000 spiritual stones inside, but they were of the best quality. These are the best spiritual stones. So many. Yaohuo's engine's eyes turned green. The other's engine's eyes turned green as well. Most of the key training cultivators, foundation building cultivators, and purple mansion cultivators use low quality spiritual stones as currency, but most of the Jiandan cultivators use medium quality spiritual stones as currency, but the Yuanian cultivators use high quality spiritual stones as currency. After reaching the spirit transformation stage, they directly use the best spiritual stones as currency. The best spiritual stones only exist in a few mineral veins. If the powerful cultivators of the virtual refining stage use secret techniques, they can also artificially produce the best spiritual stones. This shows how rare the number of the best spiritual stones is. The best spiritual stones are extremely useful for the Yuanian cultivators. They can absorb the best spiritual stones to quickly restore their combat effectiveness during the battle. They can use the best spiritual stones to break through the small bottleneck levels. They can use the best spiritual stones to forge some top level spiritual treasures. This time, Wang King's engine stepped forward to collect the storage bag and went to the hall. Everyone gathered together and began to divide the spoils. Dear Taoist friends, we are very lucky this time. There were no major casualties, but we gained a lot. Let's see how to divide it, said Yuo's engine. A large tripod, 3 elixirs, and a bag of top grade spirit stones. There are not many things, but they are all treasures. True Lord Yaohuo said, as the initiator of this operation, I roughly estimated the value of the items, using top grade spirit stones to estimate the price. This large tripod is at the peak of the 5th grade, and it is only a hair away from entering the 6th grade. The price is 15,000 top grade spirit stones. The price of Yuanshan pill is 20,000 top grade spirit stones. Dragon blood pill is useful for the dragon race, but relatively less useful to the human race, and the price is 10,000 top grade spirit stones. As for the unknown elixir, the price is 8,000 spirit stones. One top grade spirit stone is priced at 100 top grade spirit stones, but since top grade spirit stones are rare, the price is 150 top grade spirit stones. In the storage bag, 1000 top grade spirit stones are priced at 150,000 top grade spirit stones. All these items together are worth about 200,000 top grade spirit stones. This treasure hunt was initiated by True Lord Yaohuo. True Lord Yaohuo, take the lead in choosing. True Lord Wanking said, I choose the 5th grade tripod. Yaohuo's engine smiled and chose the big cauldron directly. I choose Yuanshan pill. Wanking's engine said, taking one of the goods. I choose 400 top grade spirit stones. Exclamation mark. Yaochi's engine said, looking at the remaining things, Xuanji smiled and said, only dragon blood pill and unknown elixir are left. These are left for the two of us. The value is a little small, and we should be compensated a little. We should be compensated a little. Yaohuo's engine nodded and said, 500 spirit stones, leave it to you and your wife. As for the remaining 100 spirit stones, leave it to me. Okay. Xuanji nodded. Okay. Wanking's engine also nodded. Many things can be calculated with spirit stones, but some things cannot be calculated with spirit stones. At this time, Wanking's engine was already in the late Yuanying stage, and Yuanshan pill meant a lot to him. At this moment, Yaochi's engine said, not good, there are cultivators approaching here. Jinzi also said, there are cultivators attacking here, we have been discovered. Boom boom boom. At this moment, the periphery of the cave shook violently. Everyone took their belongings and arrived at the entrance of the cave, but they felt the ground shaking. 2 formations were activated to block the front. In the void, a black shadow stood there, with black fog obscuring his appearance. At this time, he urged his magic power to attack the formation. The formation was crumbling. A great cultivator of the 9th level of the nascent soul attacked here, wanting to be the fisherman. But unexpectedly, he was intercepted by the formation at the entrance of the cave. Dao late. Zenjin Yaohuo stepped forward and said, you are cautious. You actually set up a formation outside the cave. The nascent soul cultivator said, but you can't escape. The nascent soul cultivator urged his magic power to attack. Chapter 413 Senior Willow. At the entrance of the cave, a black monk appeared, full of murderous aura, hiding in the black mist, covering his true face, and also hiding and distorting his own aura. Obviously, he did not want to reveal his true identity. At this time, the black monk used the secret technique, and his magic power surged violently. Boom boom boom. The terrifying magic power burst out like a tsunami. The grey light burst out with endless destruction, and bombarded the formation. The formation was shaking violently, and was about to fall. Jinzi and Yaokai's engine, the 2 formation masters, activated the formation, and one piece of spiritual stone after another was broken, turning into a monstrous force, urging the formation to operate. Liang Yi kill. 5 element kill. Yaohuo's engine, Wanking's engine, Xuanji and others also infused their magic power into the formation. The formation flag was activated. The black and white energy was in motion, turning into the power of birth and death of the 2 element, attacking and killing. The 5-color divine light was stimulated, and turned into the power of destruction of the 5 element, constantly strangling. With a violent sound, the magical powers of both sides clashed together. The energy collided together, constantly entangled and destroyed, and constantly torn apart. Destruction and torrents intertwined. Damn it. A trace of fear and helplessness flashed in the eyes of the man in black. The mana was activated, and the mana was consumed violently. The endless 9 nether energy gathered together, and turned into a black longsword to slash and kill. Bang bang. At this moment, the 2 large formations started to operate, and the yin and yang energy merged with the power of the 5 element, turning into a shield to resist in front. With a violent sound, the shield shattered, and the power of the 9 nether longsword was also reduced by more than half. The man in black activated the magic again and attacked continuously. but the true Lord of Ghost Fire and others also activated the formation to counterattack. The formation was constantly damaged, and it seemed to be broken at any time, but it was broken but not collapsed, and it kept supporting. Among the people present, Wang Qing's engine was at the 7th level of Yuanying, Yao Kai's engine was at the 4th level of Yuanying, Yao Huo's engine was at the 5th level of Yuanying, Jinzi was at the 4th level of Yuanying, and Lu Xuanji was at the 1st level of Yuanying. Even if they joined forces, they could not defeat a Yuanying at the 9th level. However, with the superposition of the formation, their attack power was greatly improved. On the contrary, the man in black was unable to use some of his signature magic weapons and top-level secret techniques to prevent his identity from being leaked, and he seemed to be restrained. Boom boom boom. After 100 moves, the man in black sighed and disappeared. He's finally gone, and we are safe too. Yao Huo's engine took a deep breath and said with relief, "Who is the man in black?" Lu Xuanji asked. "In Yu, Chu, and the Xuan Mountains, there are less than 30 cultivators who have entered the 9th level of the nascent soul." Wang Qing's engine analyzed. This person uses black fog to confuse his own aura, and deliberately confuses his own aura. He must be an acquaintance of ours. He spotted us halfway, and wanted to rob us. This trip has yielded a lot. After returning to the sect, we should retreat for 100 years to digest the harvest, and avoid the wind. Everyone, goodbye. Yao Huo's engine smiled, and took out a 1 meter high, 3 meter long and wide platform. This treasure is the legendary teleportation platform, one of the life-saving treasures of Yuanying's engine. This is a one-time treasure. Activating the teleportation platform can be used for long-distance teleportation, and it can ignore most of the array interception, space confinement and other means. Ordinary cultivators at the 9th level of the nascent soul cannot intercept it at all. But, as a large amount of mana was infused into it, the array pattern on the teleportation platform began to be slowly activated. Later, Yao Huo's engine, Wang Qing's engine, Yao Qi's engine, etc., all stood on the teleportation platform. After 3 breaths, the void was torn apart, and the 3 disappeared. On the ground, only the damaged teleportation platform was left. They were teleported directly to the Hehuan sect. It was also the safest to be in the sect. There was no need to worry about killing people and stealing treasures. Not to mention the mere 9th level of the nascent soul. Even the divine transformation cultivators did not dare to act recklessly in the Hehuan sect. "Let's go too," Jinzi said, and took out the teleportation platform. The teleportation platform locked the location of Danliang sect. Teleport directly to Danliang sect to avoid being intercepted by the enemy halfway. Once you reach Danliang sect, you will be safe. "Wait a minute," Lu Xuanji said. "Let's go back and search. Maybe we can find a bargain." "Okay." Jinzi nodded. The two returned to the cave again and searched carefully here to find some treasures, not leaving out a corner, but after checking for a long time, no place was found. Lu Xuanji sighed slightly. Jinzi, however, looked as if it was a matter of course. All the real masters present were shrewd people. How could there be any places that were missed, and how could there be any treasures that were missed? After leaving here, Lu Xuanji originally planned to leave, but he returned to Willow Village. Standing at the entrance of the village, he saw huge willow trees towering. Some of the trunks had withered, and some of the old bark had faded. The overall appearance was yellow and burnt, and the willow trees had also grown old. Maybe after a while, this willow tree will also wither and die of old age. If the wood is like this, how can people bear it? Lu Xuanji sighed slightly. His mind was in a trance, and in a trance he saw a young man planting a small willow tree here. The boy was growing up, becoming a god-transforming celestial being. The small willow tree also grew up, gradually turning into a big willow tree, and then into an old willow tree. His mind was stirring, and he subconsciously closed his eyes and fell into enlightenment. Jinzi was slightly stunned, and envy flashed in his eyes. He stood aside to guard. After a long time, Lu Xuanji opened his eyes. His breath and cultivation remained unchanged, but there was more depth in his eyes, and a hint of vicissitudes. "Congratulations," Jinzi said. "I have only comprehended a little bit." Lu Xuanji smiled, and his whole body was full of energy. The artistic conception of withering and flourishing of plants and trees appeared above his head. After comprehending the artistic conception of the mortal world, he comprehended the second artistic conception, the artistic conception of withering and flourishing. Cough cough cough. At this moment, a cough sounded. Who? Xuanji looked around vigilantly. Cough cough. Another cough sounded. Xuanji sensed something, and immediately said respectfully, "Greetings, senior." The direction was exactly the willow tree that was about to wither. Crash. At this moment, a face appeared on the trunk of the ancient willow tree. The face was peaceful, like the grandfather of the neighbor's family. Just a trace of energy emitted was enough to make people tremble in their hearts. In a thought, the mountains and rivers changed. In a thought, the stars changed. "Greetings, senior." Xuanji also said respectfully. It was a little late in terms of etiquette, but it was better to be late than never. She had seen Danliang Xianzhen and Liuyu Xianzhen, but in terms of aura, they were not as good as this willow tree. Who would have thought that in this remote mountain village, there would be such an old senior? Young people are formidable, young people are formidable. It's a new era again. Willow tree said, "When the Taoist left, I stayed in this world, to guard the treasure house. You are all destined to be here. You can enter the treasure house and take away a treasure. What you can take away depends on your luck." Chapter 414 Return to Danliang Sect. As he spoke, the void was changing. Xuanji and Xuanji appeared in the night sky. The endless night. The night covered everything. In the night, there were stars flashing, blinking, adding a touch of embellishment to the dark night. In the dark night, Xuanji wanted to use his magic power, but he felt that all the power in his body had dissipated, as if he had turned back to the state of a mortal. Looking around, it was still endless darkness, and even Xuanji's trace disappeared. At this moment, an old voice came. "This is a treasure house. Every star in the sky is a treasure. What kind of treasure you get depends on your luck. You may get a top-level magic weapon, or a foundation building pill." Looking up at the starry sky, Xuanji felt lonely in his heart. Sensing the connection between his body and various magic weapons, he disappeared. Only the mobile phone could still be connected, which made his originally troubled heart more stable. Swish. Xuanji's mind moved, and immediately a star fell in the night sky. It turned into a bright meteor, and landed on Xuanji's palm. Then the night sky disappeared, the darkness dissipated, and it appeared at the entrance of the village again. At the entrance of the village, the willow tree stood there. "Congratulations," the willow tree said. Xuanji and Xuanji looked at each other, and breathed a sigh of relief. Xuanji opened his palm, and the stars on his palm changed, and turned into a pill. "This is a foundation building pill." Xuanji's face turned slightly black. Foundation building pills are of little use to Yuan Ying's engine, almost like sand. Xuanji's luck is a bit bad. This is a non-African. Xuanji also opened his palm, and the stars on his palm changed, and turned into a gourd. When he opened the gourd, he saw 7 pills in it. The pills were the size of a fist, and emitted star-like light. There were also phantoms of phoenixes, blue dragons, unicorns, and black tortoises flashing in the dark. "What kind of pill is this?" Xuanji asked, puzzled. Xuanji looked at the gourd, and was puzzled at first, but gradually a trace of shock flashed in his eyes. Legend has it that there is a set of combined elixirs called Bidao Changing Life Pill. At the peak of the nascent soul, taking Bidao Changing Life Pill will give you a 50% chance of achieving the transformation of the spirit. In terms of efficacy, it is even better than the Yuanshan pill. To impact the transformation of the spirit, the most commonly used elixir is the Yuanshan pill. Taking a Yuanshan pill will give you a 3-level chance of achieving the transformation of the spirit. But above the Yuanshan pill, there is another combination of elixirs called Bidao Changing Life Pill, which is composed of 7 elixirs: Qinglang Pill, Beihu Pill, Zuk Pill, Zuanwu Pill, Gaochen Pill, Qilin Pill, and Tengsh Pill. After taking it, there is a 5-level chance of achieving the transformation of the spirit. From the 3-level chance, it is increased to the 5-level chance. It seems to be only increased by 2 levels, but it is of great significance. The price of a Yuanshan pill in the market is 15,000 high-quality spirit stones. But the price of Bidao Changing Life Pill in the market is 200,000 high-quality spirit stones. The price is 10 times more expensive. The key is that in many cases, even if you have money, you may not be able to buy it. Hey, this is the Bidao Life Changing Pill. Liu spoke. The Bidao life-changing pill requires many spiritual medicines and divine medicines as materials, and it also requires the intervention of a great master of the head Ao to forge it. With the help of the Bidao life-changing pill, after breaking through the god transformation, the foundation is 2 levels stronger than that of ordinary cultivators. You are so lucky. You each take your gifts and leave. Liu said this, and began to drive people away. Senior, is this the treasure house of that Taoist master? Lu Xuanji asked. It's unspeakable. Liu said. If we have the opportunity, we may meet again. After that, a void force was added to the 2 of them. The sky spun, and the world became dim. When Lu Xuanji opened his eyes, he had returned to the Danliang sect. Back to the fortune peak. After a long time, Jinzi suppressed his restlessness and said, Danliang sect has a formation set up by Danliang Xianzhen. It is as solid as a rock, and has strict defense. Ordinary spirit transformation cultivators cannot enter at all. But that senior Liu teleported us back silently. His method is a bit scary. That senior Liu is at least a refining virtual strongman. This world is a bit scary. There is actually a refining virtual strongman in a small mountain village. Thinking back to everything he had just experienced, he was very nervous. Just now, they actually met a refining virtual strongman. A spirit transformation strongman can dominate a region and be famous. But a refining virtual strongman is a giant among giants. Not to mention in today's era, even in the golden age, when the spiritual energy is rich and strong, people emerge in large numbers. They can also be called big brothers. But such a big man actually lives in seclusion in a small mountain village, and becomes the willow tree at the entrance of the village. No novels dare to write like this, but it is encountered in reality. A powerful person in the refining void realm. I don't think he might be stronger. Lu Xuanji said. Don't think about it. The god transforming heavenly venerable and the refining void realm great power are too far away from us. Let's focus on the present. That's right. We gained a lot from entering the cave this time, and attracted the black-clothed man to surround us. It's best to lie dormant here for a few decades before going out. Jinzi said. That's right. Lu Xuanji also nodded. The black-clothed man blocked the entrance of the cave and almost wrapped them up. But he underestimated his opponent. He didn't expect them to be so cautious and set up a formation at the entrance of the cave. The combat effectiveness of the 5 great true monarchs was also good. In the end, he could only retreat. The black-clothed man must be unwilling, and will definitely stare at them at the foot of the mountain. Recently, he can only lie dormant in the Danliang sect for a while. In the Danliang sect, they lie dormant for decades, even hundreds of years, until the black-clothed man loses patience, and automatically gives up the target. After all, killing people and seizing treasures is not about killing people and seizing treasures, but also about efficiency. Those monks who are too thin, treasure monks, and poor monks will be abandoned directly. At the same time, some monks who are powerful and too difficult to trick, will also be abandoned. It is impossible for the black-clothed men to keep staring at a few monks and do nothing. They also have to be busy practicing and retreating. They also need to lock on the latest targets, lock on new fat sheep, etc. Take out the chaos hall. Jinzi enters it, and Lu Xuanji also enters it. Start counting the harvest. The dragon blood pill is directly given to Longzuan. Longzuan took the pill, took it, and went into a cave to retreat. Jinzi took away 100 top grade spirit stones, and began to retreat and practice hard to break through the small bottleneck. What kind of pill is this? Lu Xuanji opened the gourd, and checked the pill. This is a green pill with a pill pattern on it to seal the pill's aura, and no breath leaked out. I want to scrape off some powder for inspection, but I can't. Because this will destroy the integrity of the pill. Destiny deduction. Lu Xuanji smiled and activated his phone to scan. The phone was deducing, and his mana was consuming drastically. About an hour later, the destiny deduction ended. Medicine, unknown name, efficacy, can improve the monk's understanding, disadvantages, sensitive perception, falling into madness. Chapter 415, Enlightenment Pill, Great Dao Corrosion. Perception is sharp. Falling into madness means that you won't die. Lu Xuanji sensed the green pill, hesitated for a moment, and took the pill. As for the disadvantages of taking the pill, he didn't care. As long as these disadvantages are not fatal and will not bring huge losses, the problem is not big. In life, is there anything without risk? Even drinking water may choke to death. Do cultivators not drink water? It's impossible. Breaking the pill pattern and taking the green pill, the drug power is slowly melting. As the drug power melted, Xuanji gradually felt that his soul was different, as if he was about to fly to the sky. Everything in front of him became shaky, as if he was drunk. Subconsciously closed his eyes, and his soul was flying. In the soul, a pair of eyes opened. Suddenly, the originally colorful world turned into black and white. Black and white are the mainstream of the world. Humans, tables, halls, spiritual medicines, spiritual herbs, pills, spiritual soil, air, etc. are all composed of black and white. According to the black and white air, different proportions are presented to constitute this world. Black and white are the yin and yang. The yang and yang can evolve everything. Just like in a computer, 0 and 1 can explain all the problems in the world. Looking carefully again, the world is changing, turning into countless particles and lines. Particles, in different forms, are combined into stones, humans, halls, spiritual medicines, spiritual treasures, etc. The more advanced the items, the more particles are needed for the combination, and the more complex the forms of each other. At the same time, lines connect countless particles in series, colliding with each other, dying, deriving, destroying, and creating. These lines are the lines of fate, the lines of time, the lines of cause and effect, etc. Just like different lines weaving sweaters, and different lines also weave the world, so that all living beings and all things are no longer isolated individuals, but interact with each other, collide with each other, and interpret wonderful and rich life. It seems that a long time has passed, but it seems that it is only a moment. Click. As everything dissipates, Xuanji opens his eyes. The world changes again, from black and white, from particles and lines, to colorful colors again, becoming rich and colorful, wonderful and charming. Huff, huff, huff. Xuanji closed his eyes again, and took a deep breath, trying to relieve the depression in his heart. He tried to make himself laugh, but it was so fake. People become happy because of ignorance. They become unhappy because they know too much. Feeling the world of black and white, feeling the lines and countless particles, at that moment he seemed to have turned into the mysterious heaven, high above all things, above all living beings, as if he could create everything with a wave of his hand, open up the world, and become the supreme creator, the creator god. But correspondingly, the emotions belonging to human beings are also fading and dissipating. In the dark, walk towards the way of transformation, merge into the avenue in the dark, and lose yourself. It's like a drop of oil falling into the sea and losing yourself. Xuanji, I miss you. Xuanji took out the token, and began to notify someone. A moment later, Xuanji appeared. She seemed to be dressed up carefully, wearing a light blue skirt, like a girl, especially wearing long shoes, which looked chic and attractive. Husband, something is wrong with you. Xuanji was the first to notice that something was wrong with her husband. Xuanji, I took a special pill and there was a problem. Xuanji said, I missed you. I missed you too. Xuanji said. Just like that, they rolled together again, and became a whole. The yin and yang were in motion, and the yin and yang were in motion. As the technique was in motion, Xuanji felt for the first time that there was a hint of disharmony in the technique. As the technique was in motion, the emotions surged, and the emotions became a net. The originally cold heart gradually gained a hint of warmth. The soul that was originally going to be transformed into Taoism gradually returned to human nature. The double cultivation continued. After an unknown amount of time, the two got up one after another. Xuanji wanted to ask something, but in the end she didn't ask. She endured it and turned away. In the world of immortal cultivation, there are many spiritual objects that increase enlightenment, such as body seeds, enlightenment tea, etc. These enlightenment spiritual objects are useful when the cultivation is at a lower level, but they are not very useful when it reaches a higher level. So some cultivators take many spiritual medicines, constantly extract and fuse them, and turn them into enlightenment pills. That green pill should be the enlightenment pill, but the ingredients are a little better and the grade of the pillars a little higher. It directly allowed me to enter a deep level of enlightenment, but I almost lost myself in the great way. Xuanji recalled that scene and was sweating all over. The reason why people are human is that they have 7 emotions and 6 desires. Desire is the source of human progress. But once humans lose their desires, are they still called human beings? Not at all. They are just a group of walking corpses. I remember that in my previous life, someone said that there was a crisis of artificial intelligence, and that artificial intelligence and those robots would replace humans. But in fact, it is impossible. Because artificial intelligence and robots, no matter how perfect, well designed, and reasonably programmed, can never design human desires. A civilization without desires is a stagnant civilization, a civilization heading towards destruction. If you want to destroy a civilization, you must first make it lose its desires. Losing desires also means losing the possibility of progress. At the moment, when he took the enlightenment pill, his understanding of the Great Dao continued to rise. He began to comprehend the essence of the Great Dao, and entered the state of traveling with the Great Dao. However, his corresponding emotions and desires were also fading. He almost lost himself in the Great Dao, and almost lost himself. Thanks to the yin-yang transformation and Xuanji, otherwise I might have lost myself in it. Maybe, the old demon Hehuan created the yin-yang transformation, to use the emotions in it to block the erosion of the Great Dao. Xuanji pondered, and vaguely understood the secret of the end of the yin-yang transformation. Recalling the geniuses he met in the past, the higher the comprehension, the colder the temperament, the lower the desire, and the weaker the emotion. On the contrary, those cultivators with poor comprehension are enthusiastic and cheerful, rich in emotions, and are less eroded by the Great Dao. But in essence, the higher the cultivation level of the cultivator, the higher the realm, the stronger the comprehension. Those cultivators with high realms rarely have poor comprehension. This also means that the higher the realm of the cultivator, the more likely they are to be seriously eroded by the Great Dao, and face the possibility of going astray and encountering the Great Dao. The top masters such as Yuhua Daochen, Lunhu Dadi, Hehuan Lao Mo, Beiku Daochen, etc. are obviously aware of this. They are aware of the erosion of the Great Dao, but what means do they use to resist the erosion of the Great Dao? Xuanji frowned slightly. He opened his phone and looked through some information, trying to find the answer, but he couldn't find it anymore. It seemed that everything was lost in the long river of time and turned into nothingness. Chapter 416, the second level of Yuanying, the difference between good and evil. After thinking for a long time, Xuanji could not find the answer. If he could not find the answer, he would stop thinking. Closing his eyes and sensing, Xuanji urged his mind, and the mana in his body was consumed violently. A long knife appeared on his palm, and the two energies of yin and yang flowed. The power of the 5 element was born and destroyed. The force of the primordial magnetism was surging. The two forces of time and space were flowing, and the power of starlight was fluctuating, and the power of extinction was surging. Many powers merged together, and turned into a 9-color holy knife, which chopped down from the air. Swish. The void made a series of explosive sounds in a violent noise. At the moment of fighting with this knife, Xuanji suddenly collapsed on the ground, and his mana was exhausted. Sitting upright, he adjusted his breath for an hour before his mana returned to its peak. Calculating with his mobile phone, a trace of joy flashed in Xuanji's eyes. My sword strike was comparable to the attack of a 9th level Yuanying cultivator. It was terrifyingly powerful, but the only disadvantage was that it consumed a lot of mana and needed to be accumulated. At this moment, the supreme magical power, Great 5 element Yin Yang Yuan Magnetic Starlight Universe Extinction Divine Sword, finally reached perfection. With this sword strike, he was only at the 1st level of Yuanying, but he was able to strike with the attack power of the 9th level of Yuanying, which was shocking. Of course, the disadvantages were also obvious. At the moment of striking this sword, his mana was exhausted, and he was at the mercy of others. Similarly, at the moment of striking this sword, it takes a certain amount of time to accumulate. If facing an ordinary Yuanying cultivator, there is still time to accumulate. But facing a top master, the enemy will not give him time to accumulate, but will attack in advance to break his accumulation. Swish. At this moment, Xuanji walked out of the cave and urged, "Golden light of the earth," and his speed suddenly increased. In an instant, he was thousands of miles away. At this moment, the golden light of the earth has been cultivated to the 5th level. When the escape technique is activated, the speed is comparable to that of a divine transformation cultivator. As for the disadvantage, it is the lack of endurance. Just like the cheetah on earth, it is the fastest and can be called the sprint champion, but the disadvantage is that the cheetah's endurance is insufficient and can only last for 3 minutes at most. Xuanji is somewhat similar. The speed of activating the golden light of the earth is comparable to that of a divine transformation cultivator, but it can only last for 1 minute before the mana is exhausted. Originally, to cultivate these two supreme magical powers to this level, it would take at least hundreds of years, or even thousands of years of hard practice. However, taking a pill of enlightenment pill, although it almost made him transform into a Dao, it also greatly improved his understanding in a short period of time. One of them was perfected, and the other reached the 4th level. With a flash of his figure, Xuanji returned to the mountain, and returned to the Chaos Hall to start retreat. Not only was he in retreat, but Jinzi, Yiwanai, Ningzu, Hangfu and others were also in retreat. Time was passing, and 80 years passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Xuanji's ki was surging all over his body, roaring like the tide, and making crackling sounds like the waves surging through his body. The nascent soul was growing stronger, and the baby's originally blurry face became clearer. The baby began to grow up, just like a newborn baby growing into a 1-year-old baby. The golden core realm is to continuously compress the magic power, improve the quality of the magic power, and make the magic power more and more pure. The nascent soul realm is to continuously cultivate the baby and gradually raise the baby in the danshan. Crack, crack. At this moment, a slight sound came. Xuanji's aura changed and entered the 2nd level of the nascent soul. In 80 years, it only took 1 level to reach the peak of the nascent soul. It will take at least 700 years, or even 1,000 years, to reach the peak of the nascent soul. If you encounter a bottleneck in the middle, it will take longer. You may not be able to enter the peak of the nascent soul when your lifespan is exhausted, and you can only rely on your second life. Xuanji calculated the time, and felt more and more difficult to cultivate immortals. In the early stage of cultivating immortals, due to the difference in spiritual roots, the speed of cultivation of the heavenly spiritual roots will be fast, while the speed of cultivation of the 5 spiritual roots will be slow. But when you reach the nascent soul stage, the so-called qualifications are of little use, and you have to rely on the comprehension of the great Dao and the comprehension of the laws. The speed will also be faster and slower. After walking out of the retreat, Xuanji seemed bored, and began to take out some spiritual medicines, and began to refine the elixir. He called the Lu family monks again, and sent some high-grade spiritual medicines one after another, and began to refine the elixir. Foundation building pill, true yuan pill, pure yang pill, purple mansion pill, nirvana pill, creation pill, golden pill and many other spiritual medicines are being consumed, but the pills are also being refined quickly. Refining the pill is like cooking. Not only the speed of refining the pill is fast, but also the number of pills that come out of the furnace each time is large. With a high realm, strong mental power, and outstanding control of subtleties, a large amount of medicinal materials were thrown into the heaven-swallowing cauldron. Every time the furnace was opened, hundreds of foundation building pills were produced, all of which were of the highest quality. As for the true essence pill, because of its low technical content and the small amount of materials required, thousands of pills were produced each time the furnace was opened. As for the pure yang pill, purple mansion pill, nirvana pill, etc., because of the scarcity of materials, the difficulty of refining is also increasing. Only more than 20 pills can be produced each time the furnace is opened. At the same time, he asked about the situation of the Lu family. The elder replied that everything was fine with the Lu family. In the blink of an eye, another 10 years passed. A roar came from a cave. With the violent noise, the void was shaking, and a large amount of spiritual energy swept through the Tathagata, turning into a terrifying vortex, and entering the cave. After a long time, the spiritual energy vortex disappeared. The terrifying aura also dissipated with it. A moment later, Xuanji walked out of the cave with joy in her eyes. At this time, she had entered the 5th level of the nascent soul. Congratulations. Xuanji stepped forward and said, congratulations, you have also entered the 2nd level of the nascent soul. Xuanji said, I'm only over 1,000 years old, but I'm already at the 5th level of the nascent soul. It seems that I may be able to reach the spiritualization stage once my lifespan is exhausted in my first life, and gain some experience. Xuanji said, with joy in his eyes. After reaching the nascent soul stage, it takes an average of 100 years to advance one level, which is too slow. Xuanji frowned slightly. Is it slow? Not at all. Xuanji said, you entered the golden core at the age of 700, and you advance one level every 100 years on average. You may have a chance to impact the god transformation at the age of 1700. This is already beyond many cultivators. But I heard that the great emperor of Samsara entered the Hedeo realm at only 500 years old. The old demon Hehuan had a worse aptitude, but he also entered the Hedeo realm at the age of 1000. The white bone demon lord had the worst aptitude, and entered the Hedeo realm at the age of more than 2000. Xuanji thought of some records in the magic classics, and couldn't help but sigh. These monsters cultivate too fast. I entered the nascent soul at the age of 800. As for you, you entered the nascent soul at the age of more than 1000. Is there no way, no secret technique, to increase the speed of cultivation? You want to follow the magic path. Xuanji said. It's just that I feel that the cultivation speed is too slow. Xuanji sighed. Many times he was unhappy because of comparison. Compared with these magic predecessors, his cultivation speed was too slow. Xuanji said, some people work hard and earn 10 taels of silver. Some people go to a random street and rob 10 taels of silver. The former is the righteous way, and the latter is the evil way. The purchasing power of 10 taels of silver earned from working, and 10 taels of silver obtained by robbery is the same. Robbing others' money, although it makes money quickly, there are many hidden dangers, and there will be constables who will come forward to arrest people. The same is true for cultivators. If you take the path of the evil way, it only takes 10 years to cultivate from the 1st level of the nascent soul to the 9th level of the nascent soul, which is extremely fast. But the heavenly tribulation, human tribulation, and life tribulation are extremely terrifying. Among the cultivators who have become immortals, 9 are righteous cultivators, but there is only one evil cultivator. This is the price of taking shortcuts. Chapter 417 Lu Fan attacks the golden core. Working to make money is naturally not as fast as making money by robbing. A worker, working hard for decades, can't save up 1 million, but if he goes out to rob, he may make 1 million a month. The latter makes money quickly, but the corresponding risk is also great. The magic way emphasizes plunder. But in Chu, Yu, and even the 10,000 mountains, it doesn't work. Because many areas emphasize order. The strong are respected, not the strong can do whatever they want. The strong can kill people at will, because there are sect rules, systems, and unspoken rules to restrict them. Those who think that I'm the 9th level of the nascent soul, my cultivation is stronger than yours, I can kill people everywhere, rob everywhere, the grass on my grave would have been 3 feet high. Xuanji continued, there is a kind of elixir called Yuanying pill. If a Yuanying cultivator takes Yuanying pill regularly, he may reach the peak of Yuanying in just 100 years, or even a few decades. The main material of Yuanying pill is the Yuanying of Zhenjian. If you want to obtain a large number of Yuanying pills, you need to hunt down a large number of Yuanying Zhenjian and obtain Yuanying. However, whether it is the Shuan Mountains, or the Chu State, the Yu State, etc., the number of Yuanying cultivators is limited, and there are more or less connections and backgrounds behind them. Killing 1 or 2 Yuanying cultivators is not a big problem, but if you kill 5 or 6 Yuanying cultivators in a row, the Shenhua cultivators will chase and kill them. There was a warning in his words. Xuanji smiled bitterly, but was speechless. Because the warning was useless, he was chased by a Shenhua cultivator of the Dragon Clan not long ago. When he was crossing the tribulation in the East China Sea, many Yuanying monsters besieged him. He was angry and captured and sealed 3 of them and directly refined them into Yuanying pills. So, he detonated a hornet's nest. The Jade Dragon King personally hunted him down, and in the end he could only hide in the Gixu restricted area, and he almost died. After talking for a while, Xuanji left to consolidate the foundation. Xuanji returned to the cave and smiled bitterly. The shortcut was not feasible. If he went to Yu Kingdom or the Xuan Mountains and killed more than 5 Yuanying cultivators, there would definitely be powerful gods chasing him. The times are different. The world of cultivating immortals is changing from disorder to order. Just like in the past, some capitalists in the West, after making a fortune by killing and arson, immediately made laws to protect their property and legalize it to prevent them from becoming the targets of murder and arson. Similarly, many demon cultivators killed people for treasures in the early days, killing countless people, but after reaching the top, they immediately made corresponding rules to protect the weak, prevent disorderly competition, and prevent the lower level cultivators from killing and robbing treasures. To put it bluntly, everyone is smart. Back then, they made a fortune by exploiting certain loopholes in the rules, but when they reached the peak, they took the lead in plugging those loopholes in the rules. Forget it, let's focus on hard training. Taking a deep breath, Xuanji suppressed the impetuousness in his heart and became quiet. Time passed, and another 10 years passed. After 10 years of consolidating the foundation, Xuanji came out of retreat again, and at this time he had consolidated the foundation. Yiwanyi, Ningzhu, Longzuan and others were still in retreat. Xuanji said, "We have been in retreat in Danliang sect for 100 years. That man in black can't be staring at us all the time. We can go outside for some activities." Xuanji nodded and said, "It's been 100 years, the limelight has passed. That man in black can't be staring at us all the time. Even if we encounter danger, we can avoid it." With that, the 2 left Danliang sect and went to the Lu family. When they returned to the Lu family became more prosperous. 100 years ago, the Zhenjian ceremony established the reputation of the Lu family. Everyone knows that the Lu family is a Yuanying family, the head of the Lu family is a Yuanying cultivator, and the Taoist partner of the clan leader is a Yuanying cultivator. Many immortal cultivation families are willing to give face to the Lu family, so the Lu family's shops are opened in various markets, and some of the Lu family's spiritual medicines, elixirs, weapons, etc. are sold everywhere. In this process, there are frictions, disputes, collisions, and fights, but the overall stability can be maintained. According to a rough statistics, the Lu family now has 300,000 cultivators, tens of thousands of foundation building cultivators, more than 1,000 purple mansion cultivators, and 10 golden elixir cultivators. It can be said that the foundation is large and the business is great. As for the civilians at the bottom, the number of mortals is even more than 200 million. In just 700 years, the Lu family has changed from a purple mansion family to a Yuanying family. The population under its jurisdiction has also expanded from a short population of 3 million to 200 million. The population is increasing, and the demand for food is increasing, the number of cultivators is increasing, and the loss of the bottom cultivators is also increasing. Fortunately, cultivation is productivity. Every year, high-level cultivators cultivate a large number of low-level spiritual herbs and low-level spiritual medicines. Some elixirs can be mass-produced, so there is no need to worry about the fiscal deficit. Correspondingly, there are also various problems. But under the management of the Great Elder, Lu Fan and others, everything is in good order. Meeting Father, Lu Fan stepped forward and said, "Not bad, not bad. The Lu family is not bad." Xuanji flipped through the account book and nodded. After reaching the nascent soul stage, the Lu family's help to him became less and less, and he had to spend some resources to feed back to the Lu family. The account book was just glanced at and put aside. "Father, do you plan to impact the golden core?" Lu Fan said firmly. "How old are you?" Xuanji asked. "I'm already 520 years old." Lu Fan said, "I once took a longevity pill, which extended my life by 100 years, and I still have 60 years left. I have average talent, average comprehension, and 5 spiritual roots. With my father's help, I have reached the moment of half-step formation of the elixir. In the past, I have been hesitant and afraid. Until now, I have seen my father, and I plan to give it a try. If I succeed, I will achieve the golden elixir and gain 1,000 years of life. If I fail, I will turn into ashes. If I die, father, don't be sad. Although your son is incompetent, he has left a large number of descendants for your father, and continued your father's glory. Faina, come on. Xuanji said. My son, strive for the golden elixir in 3 days. Lu Fan said. In fact, he planned to strive for the golden elixir 50 years ago, but he thought of his father who was in seclusion and practicing hard. He was also worried that he would die in the catastrophe, so he kept waiting. Until now, seeing his father for the last time, his heart knot was completely resolved. After telling his father the news of the catastrophe, Lu Fan began to prepare. At the same time, he quickly passed the news to inform his descendants. Lu Fan's descendants came to visit his father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and great-grandfather. They called their wives and concubines, began to arrange funeral affairs, and divided up some of the family property. Now, Lu Fan is 520 years old. He started to marry wives and concubines when he was 20 years old. He has more than 300 wives and concubines in total, all of whom are female cultivators with spiritual roots. Some of them are even second spiritual roots or special spiritual roots. During the long years, most of the female cultivators passed away. Now there are only 53 female cultivators alive, 18 of whom are at the Purple Mansion level, and 35 are at the Foundation Establishment level. All these wives and concubines must be arranged. Chapter 418, Arrangement of Funeral Affairs. In the cave, Lu Fan looked at these wives and concubines with a complicated expression. When his mother gave birth to him, his father was already a half-step Jiandan, and his mother was also a half-step Jiandan. When his mother gave birth to the two brothers, she was more worried about the future and the fear of the Jiandan catastrophe. She was worried that she would fall in the catastrophe, but could not leave offspring for her father. So she gave birth to them before the catastrophe. Fortunately, his mother was lucky and survived the Jiandan catastrophe and became a Jiandan master. Not long after, his father also survived the catastrophe and became a Jiandan master. The lifespan of a Jiandan cultivator is 1,000 years, which can protect the family for a long time. As the descendants of Jiandan, his elder brother Lu Zian, and he have also become the focus of many cultivators and the objects of marriage. Most of the immortal cultivation families have set their sights on their elder brother Lu Zian, and many cultivators have proposed to their elder brother to form a marriage. Marriage is one of the best ways for many families to increase friendship. It's a pity that his mother refused, and his elder brother also refused. His elder brother is a natural spiritual root, a genius in cultivation, and is not very keen on love between men and women. Therefore, the target of marriage was locked on him early. For the sake of the family, he chose marriage, and took countless wives and concubines. For the sake of the family, to give birth to more geniuses, he took in many female cultivators, and married with the Yi family, Zhang family, Sun family and other families. In just a short period of time, the number of wives and concubines reached 18, and the number was growing wildly. As for how deep the feelings between each other were, it was not at all. It was more for the interests of the family, and for their own interests. There were so many women, and they were constantly scheming against each other, fighting and fighting each other, which was annoying. There are two reasons for women's internal fighting. One is too idle, and the other is too happy. He quickly suppressed everything after taking action. It's just that the happy years were very short. Many concubines went to sit, because of their lack of qualifications, which added a lot of troubles to everything. Many concubines were worried about their lifespans, so they stopped fighting internally, and focused on cultivation. Not long after, sons appeared one by one, and daughters appeared one by one. Many sons without spiritual roots could only disappear sadly in the mortal world. Suddenly, 500 years passed. Only 53 concubines were left, and the youngest of them had already reached the foundation building stage. If I fail to reach the golden core stage, don't be sad. You can remarry or stay in the Lu family. If you encounter any undecided issues, you can ask father for help. Mother's personality is relatively cold and indifferent, while father is relatively better. He is the most kind-hearted person. Recalling the past, Lu Fan began to instruct. Back then, father's qualifications, comprehension, physique, luck, etc. were all first class, better than mother, the elders and others. However, he paid too much for the family, supporting mother, the elders and others, which delayed the opportunity and slowed down his cultivation. You can ask father for help on some matters, but father is very busy and he will be in seclusion for decades or even hundreds of years. If you can't meet father, you can ask mother for help. If they are all in seclusion, you can ask father's two maids, Ningzu and Hanfu, for help. Husband, I understand. Many wives and concubines said in unison. Over the years, I have spent some elixirs, spirit stones, etc., and there are not many resources left. You can divide them equally. Lu Fan said, took out the storage bag, and began to distribute the family property. Over the years, his father gave him a large number of spirit stones, elixirs, etc., and they were of high quality. It was also thanks to these spirit stones that he only had 5 spiritual roots, but he reached the half-step golden elixir and had a chance to prove his way. It was also because of these spirit stones that many female cultivators with excellent qualifications were willing to be his concubines. Among them, there were some second spiritual root cultivators, different spiritual root cultivators, and some purple mansion female cultivators. They were willing to be his concubines, more because they valued the spirit stones in his hands and his generosity. The Yi family, Sun family, Zhang family, Zhao family, etc. These immortal cultivation families need to rely on marriage to consolidate their relationship, but they will not force the female cultivators of the family too much. If you don't want to, the family will not force you, but the welfare benefits in the family will be reduced. Of course, if you are willing to marry, the family will give you a dowry. As for those female cultivators, they wanted to fight for their freedom, but were unwilling to pay for the family and marry, but they also wanted to cheat the family and waste a lot of family resources. Where can such a good thing be found? Many female cultivators, who were arrogant and domineering in the early stage, were gradually smoothed out and were willing to be his concubines. After distributing spirit stones and elixirs, some concubines were happy, but all concubines were somewhat dissatisfied. Lu Fan said, that's all the things, you can leave. Many female cultivators left. Only 3 female cultivators stayed. The 3 of them had the strongest cultivation and the highest realm. All of them were at the peak of the purple mansion. Husband, what are the chances of success in this tribulation? Mirengzu asked. I don't know. Lu Fan said, everything depends on the destiny in the dark. Over the years, 20 cultivators of the Lu family have impacted the golden core, but most of them failed. There are only 10 golden core cultivators in my Lu family. Mirengzu was sad and said, if my husband dies, I'm willing to keep my chastity for you. After that, Mirengzu disappeared. Yi Qingqing said, husband, after you pass the tribulation, I also plan to pass the tribulation. Lu Fan said, Qingqing, you have the spirit root of thunder, and the tribulation is also huge. Why don't you wait for a while? You are only 300 years old, and you can continue to polish your foundation. Yi Qingqing said, no, there is not much difference between passing the tribulation at 300 years old and 400 years old. With that, Yi Qingqing also left. In the end, only a woman in white palace clothes, Zhao Rumeng, was left. Husband, you have to live. Zhao Rumeng said. Rumeng, you have the spirit root of heaven, and you will definitely become a golden elixir in the future. If I die, you can also leave. If you want to stay in the Lu family, you can take this letter and become a disciple to your mother. Lu Fan said, took out a letter, handed it over, and said, for the sake of our past relationship, mother will protect you and help you grow into a golden elixir master smoothly. Zhao Rumeng was silent. She wanted to say something, but she didn't know how to start. In the past, the Zhao family was just a small family, and the strongest person in the family was just a foundation building cultivator who could go to extinction at any time. One year, the Zhao family offended an enemy and was about to face a catastrophe. At that time, the clan leader had no choice but to offer her to Lu Fan as a concubine. At that time, she was unwilling. She was a natural spiritual root and would become a golden elixir master in the future. How could she be willing to be a concubine of a second-generation playboy? After marrying him, she was full of resentment. It was not until later, after giving birth to a son and a daughter for him, that they gradually became harmonious. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 419, Lu Family Spiritual Roots. Later, as her children grew up, and with the sweet words of a man, she fell in love with him. From being reluctant at the beginning, she became willing to do it. Until now, she heard the news that he was going to cross the calamity. In a trance, Xiao Rumeng took the letter and opened it. In the letter, there were only less than 300 words, and the content was to ask her mother to accept her as a disciple, which was considered to provide her with shelter. The qualifications of the heavenly spiritual roots are very strong. At least in the early moments, there are greater advantages, and the speed of cultivation is fast. It only takes 200 or 300 years to prove the golden elixir, and there is no bottleneck before the peak of the golden elixir. But for the Yuanying's engine, the heavenly spiritual roots are just like that. Because the dividends of the heavenly spiritual roots have been exhausted before the Yuanying, they are on the same starting line as other golden elixir cultivators. There is no concept of who is higher and who is lower in the impact of the Yuanying realm. The cultivators of the heavenly spiritual roots have the capital to be proud of in front of the purple mansion, but they can only be regarded as equals when facing the golden elixir cultivators, and can only look up to the Yuanying. When she saw the Bingpo's engine, she wanted to call him mother. Unfortunately, the Bingpo's engine had too many daughters-in-law, and might not remember her as a daughter-in-law, but with this letter, there were more possibilities for making friends and protecting him. Husband, you have to be careful. Xiao Rumeng said, I'll wait for you. After that, Xiao Rumeng left. Not long after, many living descendants came one after another. Grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-grandchildren, etc. came one after another, and there were thousands of them. But more descendants disappeared and turned into soil, and their memories gradually dissipated. Some sat in meditation, some died in battle, some died in the beast tide, and some died in accidents. Looking at the many descendants, Lu Fan's heart flashed with joy. He had poor qualifications, but he could make an important contribution to the reproduction of the family. Among his descendants, there are foundation building cultivators, purple mansion cultivators, and 2 golden elixir cultivators. Among these 2 golden elixir cultivators, one is his son and the other is his grandson. His son Lumingxuan is a cultivator with ice spiritual roots. He is 400 years old this year. He survived a catastrophe 30 years ago and achieved the golden elixir. His grandson Luqiwan is a cultivator with gold spiritual roots. He is 300 years old this year. He survived a catastrophe 50 years ago and achieved the golden elixir. Looking at these descendants, Lu Fan said, I'm glad you can come. Soon, I will pass the calamity, and life and death are unpredictable. If I'm unlucky and die in the calamity, don't be sad. I still have some inheritance here, but I don't plan to share it with you. If the property is evenly distributed, there is actually no majority. I will leave part of the property in the family to reward those outstanding descendants. I hope you will strive to make progress. Contribute to the prosperity of the Lu family. Cultivators live in the world just to become stronger and strive for immortality, and will get lost in the process of seeking the truth. Cultivators must learn to find their own home. As long as there is a home, the heart will not be confused, the heart will be warm, and will not go lost and lose themselves. You should be grateful for being born in the Lu family, because with the protection of your father, you have a higher starting point than many cultivators. You can practice with peace of mind, and don't have to worry about killing people to rob treasures. If you are bullied outside, as long as it is reasonable, the Lu family will help you. Because of the Lu family, you have avoided many detours. After that, he took the lead in greeting some descendants. One by one, he stepped forward and explained the matter. Many descendants were also sad when they saw the ancestor telling about his last affairs. In the end, only 2 giant cultivators were left. Taking out a letter and handing it to Lumingxuan, Lu Fan said, if I survive the catastrophe, everything will be fine and this letter will not be needed. But if I fail to survive the catastrophe, you can take this letter to visit your father, and your father will give you some face. I understand, my child. Lu Mingxuan said, with a gloomy look in his eyes. In a trance, he thought of the old ancestor. Once, he thought that his talent was against the sky and he must surpass the old ancestor. It was not, until he proved the way to the Jiandan, that he felt the gap between the Jiandan and the Yuanying, that he realized that he was not as good as him. He was just a Jiandan cultivator, and he could not make the old ancestor look up to him. Even the identity of a grandson was not enough for the old ancestor to look up to him. After all, there were too many grandchildren and they could not get close to each other. But with this letter from my father, and the ending of my father's death, my grandfather would help them out for my father's sake, help them solve some difficult problems, and give them some pointers. But Lu Qiwen said, Grandpa, there is no need for this letter. Will I surpass Xuanji Patriarch in the future? Obviously, he didn't buy it. He felt that he had good qualifications, good luck, and outstanding understanding, and he would definitely surpass Xuanji's engine. Forget it, I hope so, Lu Fan said. After explaining everything, he began to dismiss these younger generations, adjust his spirit, and adjust to the strongest state. Time passed, and finally the third day arrived. Everyone was waiting. At this moment, the calamity clouds in the void were condensing, the tide of destruction was surging, and the spiritual energy was wave after wave, like waves. As the dark clouds condensed, the destructive lightning was condensing in the clouds. Under the lightning, a figure appeared. It was Lu Fan. Boom boom boom. After just a few breaths, the lightning drowned everything. The void turned into a silvery white. Husband, you have to do your best. On the top of the mountain, Murangsu, Yi Qingqing, Zhao Rumeng and other concubines whispered, encouraging each other in their hearts. The husband is greedy for money and lustful, but he is a good husband. No one wants to be a widow. At this moment, they can only pray silently. Brother, you have to do your best. On another mountain, Lu Zion encouraged himself in his heart, full of worries. He is a natural spiritual root and a pure Yang Taoist body. He has a strong aura on his body to resolve the disaster in the dark. The three tribulations of the golden elixir are a life and death struggle for many cultivators. But for him, it is just a formality. When he was going through the three tribulations of the golden elixir, he easily broke through the tribulation and achieved the golden elixir. But for other cultivators, it is much more difficult and dangerous to go through the tribulation. Over the years, more than 20 cultivators of the Lu family have gone through the tribulation, but only 10 of them have succeeded in going through the tribulation and achieved the golden elixir. This is because the Lu family has been very lucky recently and has resolved most of the tribulations in the dark. But in the vast area of Chu, if 10 out of 100 cultivators succeed in overcoming the tribulation, it would be considered good. Son, you have to work hard. Lu Xuanji comforted him silently in his heart. He could only give a thumbs up and support to his son, and everything else depended on him. If he tried to overcome the tribulation would become even greater, and even he might die in it. You can ask outsiders for help in everything, but you can only rely on yourself to resolve the tribulation, and you can't rely on outsiders. Boom boom boom. The tribulation continued, and its power increased. When it came to the sixth tribulation, thunder, nightmare wind, skyfire, etc. swept down. Chapter 420 Lu Fan achieves the golden elixir. Boom boom boom. Thunder flashed in the sky, and one catastrophe after another, fierce and violent, tearing everything apart and destroying everything. The punishment of destruction seemed to drown that figure. In the endless catastrophes, the breath of that figure was fluctuating, but it was not completely annihilated. When the ninth catastrophe dissipated, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But Lu Xuanji was nervous and vaguely uneasy. Heavenly tribulation, human tribulation, and life tribulation. These are the three tribulations of the golden elixir. The heavenly tribulation, seemingly fierce, can only kill some casual cultivators and some poor people. These cultivators have low-level cultivation techniques, shallow mana, and no high-level magic weapons, so they are prone to fall in the heavenly tribulation. But the cultivators of those big families have high-level cultivation techniques, strong mana, and higher level magic weapons for defense, so the probability of surviving the heavenly tribulation is extremely high. The heavenly tribulation cannot kill Lu Fan. It's just that the life tribulation and the human tribulation are hard to say. The life tribulation is a fight for fate, the human tribulation is a fight for luck. In the world of cultivating immortals, it is not that one can become a golden elixir just by having good aptitude, excellent comprehension, firm heart and outstanding perseverance. One also needs destiny in the dark. Under the traction of the dark key, countless cultivators will collide and fight with each other in the form of human calamity and life calamity. The loser will fall on the spot. The winner will seize the luck of the loser and become more powerful. Time is passing. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths, and 10 breaths. When Lu Fan opened his eyes, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Life calamity and human calamity are all overcome. From then on, the Lu family has another golden elixir real person. Haha, my son is doing well, Xuanji said, and was about to go forward to greet his son. In the void, the calamity cloud condensed again. 2 more female cultivators entered the calamity cloud, triggered the heavenly calamity, and accepted the baptism of the heavenly calamity. The steps that Xuanji was about to take stopped abruptly. Feina's 2 concubines are about to pass the tribulation. In terms of their background, their aptitude is even higher than Feina's. Unfortunately, the tribulation is unpredictable and the fate is uncertain. Xuanji thought and wanted to recall the names of the 2 daughters-in-law, but he couldn't remember. His son Lu Fan had too many wives and concubines, more than 300 of them. As time passed, most of the female cultivators sat in meditation or died. But there were still more than 50 concubines. With such a large number of people, how could he remember them? What are their names? Xuanji asked. The elder thought and said, one of these 2 female cultivators is named Yi King, a female cultivator of the Yi family, and a female cultivator with ice spirit roots. The other is Zhao Rumeng, who comes from a small family, and is a cultivator with heavenly spirit roots. Got it? Xuanji nodded, his mind flashing, analyzing the 2 daughters-in-law. They have excellent aptitudes, and are considered to be geniuses. Whether in terms of talent or aptitude, they are higher than Feina. Feina can suppress them, and there will be no fire in the harem. Feina, you won't be stabbed by a kitchen knife. In reality, Feina's harem was very harmonious. There were no kitchen knives, and they lived very comfortably. Boom boom boom. At this moment, the calamity clouds in the sky dissipated. After another 10 breaths, the colorful rays of light fell, and the auras of the 2 women rose steadily, proving the golden elixir. In an instant, the Lu family had 2 more golden elixir female cultivators. Okay. Xuanji spoke, and said with joy, you go to sort out some of your cultivation for the time being, consolidate some of your cultivation, and in 10 days, I will give a lecture. Everyone was very happy. This was the true master's lecture. 10 days was mainly a buffer, giving everyone time to gather. After 10 days, many cultivators gathered together, and there were hundreds of thousands of people. There were not only cultivators from the Lu family, but also cultivators from other families, as well as independent cultivators, etc., all gathered together, waiting for the lecture. It was also thanks to the Great Elder's proper arrangement that nothing went wrong. Swish. At this moment, Xuanji suddenly appeared and said, I will start preaching. First, he talked about the 9 realms of key refining. The key refining realm is the most basic realm, but also the most important realm. Then, he talked about the foundation establishment realm, the purple mansion realm, and some key secrets and techniques, as well as some precautions. These contents are almost common sense for cultivators from large families and sects. But for low-level cultivators and casual cultivators, it is equivalent to making up lessons. At the beginning, it involves some simple content, but later it gradually involves some profound things, which many people cannot understand. But I still opened the recording stone, and recorded this information. I can't understand it now, but I may understand it in the future. After speaking for 3 hours, Xuanji paused and said, the Tao cannot be passed on lightly, and the Dharma cannot be passed on to the 6 ears. Next, it involves the secrets of the golden elixir and the mystery of the nascent soul. The Dharma cannot be passed on lightly. Here, I want to talk about some principles. First, only the late Purple Mansion cultivators and the Golden Dan cultivators can listen to my teachings. Second, to listen to my teachings, the Purple Mansion cultivators must pay 10,000 spirit stones, and the Golden Dan cultivators must pay 100,000 spirit stones. Third, after listening to my teachings, you should cultivate your body, and cultivate your character, and not do evil. If someone does evil and I hear it, I will punish him severely. Everyone said in unison, we understand. Only preaching to the late Purple Mansion cultivators and the Golden Dan cultivators is to protect the lower level cultivators. As for other cultivators, their cultivation is too low, and it is useless to listen to it, but it will affect their Tao heart. The Purple Mansion cultivators pay 10,000 spirit stones, and the Golden Dan cultivators pay 100,000 spirit stones, and it is also to get rid of the cause and effect. The last one is a warning. The golden elixir is of the 3rd grade 9 turns. The 3rd grade represents the grade of the golden elixir. The 9 turns represent the quality of the golden elixir. The practice of a cultivator is to continuously purify the grade of the golden elixir, Xuanji said, trying to make the language easy to understand. At the beginning, he talked about some mysteries of the golden elixir, and then some mysteries of the nascent soul. Then, he talked about the techniques of alchemy, the means of cultivating spiritual plants, the means of alchemy, and so on. About half a day later, the sermon ended. Everyone dispersed, with different thoughts. In just a short half-day sermon, many cultivators understood a lot, and understood a lot about the Tao and the principles. When everyone dispersed, only 6 golden elixir cultivators of the Lu family were left. During his 100 years of seclusion, 6 cultivators of the Lu family had achieved the golden elixir. Looking at everyone, Xuanji said, you have become great giant and cultivators, and brought fame to our Lu family. Very good, but you must not bully others, be kind to others, and live in harmony. I won't say much about the rest. As an elder, I can help you a little. Here are some exercises: supreme magical powers, top level elixirs, top level magic weapons, etc. I can give you 1 or 2. Of course, you can also make other requests. As long as I can do it, I will satisfy 1 or 2. Chapter 421 Resignation as Patriarch. Xuanji slapped his storage bag, and immediately, magic weapons, elixirs, mid-grade spirit stones, high-grade spirit stones, and top-grade spirit stones flew out one after another. These treasures flashed, and flew into the void, constantly changing. Xuanji said, can you make a request to me? At this time, a cultivator spoke up. His name was Xuanji. He was a Taoist partner with a female cultivator from the Lu family, and joined the Lu family. He was considered the son-in-law of the Lu family. Xuanji said, after I achieved the golden elixir, I spent most of my money, and owed a lot of debts. I have no money to buy magic weapons. Please give me a 4th grade spiritual treasure. Okay. Xuanji nodded and waved his hand. 7 or 8 magic weapons flew out, including knives, guns, swords, shields, armor, divine rings, etc. These magic weapons are all spoils of war that I captured after killing the enemy. You can choose one from these magic weapons. Xuanji thought about it and stepped forward to take a piece of armor. The experience of being a casual cultivator made him feel insecure. Armor can protect one's own safety and give one more chance to save one's life. After receiving the armor, Xuanji refined it on the spot. When the armor was worn on his body, it exuded a trace of powerful aura. It not only had a strong defense, but also had a certain blessing on his own combat power. Thank you, ancestor. Xuanji said. Xuanji nodded, and Xuanji was teleported out. Faina, what do you need? Xuanji asked. My child, I don't need anything. Lu Fan said, over the years, my father has given me enough things. This gold medal is for you. I hope you can save your life in a critical moment. Xuanji said, throwing a token. What about you? Father, I haven't thought about it yet. Father, I haven't thought about it either. Yi Qingqing and Zhao Rumeng, the 2 daughters-in-law, said, these are for you. As he said that, Xuanji threw a volume of exercises to Yi Qingqing and a volume of supreme magical powers to Zhao Rumeng. Then, Lu Mingxuan asked for a volume of alchemy notes and left. In the end, only Lu Qiwen was left. Lu Qiwen said, "Greetings, ancestor. I don't need any secret techniques or elixirs, but I'm a little curious about how powerful you were when you were in the Golden Core realm. Haha, not bad." Lu Xuanji said, "A newborn calf is not afraid of a tiger. A man should be brave. Do you want to know how strong I am? Now I'll show you." With a thought, he activated the 9 changes of fish and dragon and evolved an avatar. The avatar only had the cultivation of the initial stage of the Golden Core realm. Lu Qiwen said excitedly, activating the spell to attack. The avatar attacked, and the long sword in his hand flashed. The two fought and separated at the touch. But at the neck of Lu Qiwen, a bloodline appeared. As long as the force of the long sword went a little further, his head would fall off. "I don't accept it," Lu Qiwen said unconvinced, and activated the spell again, attacking with various killing moves. The avatar attacked and killed with just one blow. This blow had no extra changes, but was fast, sharp, and unstoppable. When he felt the knife, he had already been hit. Lu Qiwen, who was originally full of arrogance, asked calmly after the initial madness and disbelief, "Ancestor, what means do I have to surpass you? My aptitude is average, not as good as yours. At the beginning, I only had 3 spiritual roots, and you had heavenly spiritual roots, but my comprehension is top-notch." Lu Xuanji said, "In the early stage of the golden elixir, I cultivated a supreme magical power to perfection, and a supreme magical power was at the great success level. Not to mention you, even some Yuanying ancestors are not as good as you. Never fight with me at the same level, you will lose miserably." There was once a reincarnated god who was not convinced and wanted to fight with me at the same level, but he lost miserably and was almost killed by me. Lu Qiwen savored it carefully and smacked his lips secretly. Aptitude determines the speed of cultivation. Comprehension determines the height of the magical secrets. This old ancestor's talent and aptitude are average, much inferior to those with heavenly spiritual roots and special spiritual roots. It can only be said that he is average. He built his foundation at the age of 50, reached the Purple Palace at the age of 180, and reached the Golden Elixir at the age of 430. This cultivation speed is not fast, but rather very slow. But in terms of comprehension, it is top-notch. Many golden elixir cultivators only cultivate 1 or 2 small magical powers to perfection, or cultivate a large magical power to great success. As for the supreme magical power, they will not be involved, just because it is too difficult and the cultivation is too slow. Only Yuanying cultivators are qualified to cultivate supreme magical powers, but they are only entry level and small success. If you want to cultivate the supreme magical power to great success or perfection, you must at least have the cultivation of the spirit transformation. Because the realm of the spirit transformation cultivator is high enough, the comprehension is also high, and it takes a long time to constantly polish it, so that you can comprehend a supreme magical power to great success or perfection. The old ancestor is only in the early stage of the golden elixir, and he has achieved this step. How amazing his comprehension is. Of course, comprehension is not omnipotent. Many cultivators have higher qualifications than the ancestor, and their cultivation speed is faster than the ancestor. At the same age, they are at a higher realm than the ancestor. Even if the ancestor is invincible in the same realm, it seems useless. Many times, being invincible in the same realm is a false proposition. Many times, when the strong fight, they bully the weak. 3 days later, Lu Qiwen left. Lu Xuanji also breathed a sigh of relief. By now, the Lu family has become a big deal. It is no longer a shallow family, no longer an alvorish, and has a certain foundation. The Lu family can be healthy and orderly without him. Xuanji, you should let go appropriately. At this time, Jinzi appeared and said quietly, "It's like the old emperor is old, and he should abdicate appropriately, and let the younger generation. You must learn to believe in them, they will do everything well." Lu Xuanji said, "The position of the patriarch should be given to Fana." Jinzi said, "After the nascent soul, it takes 100 years or even longer to break through each realm. Some worldly things should be given up appropriately." Lu Xuanji nodded. He called Lu Xian, Lu Fan, the Great Elder, Yi Qingqing, Zhao Rumeng and others, to tell them about his decision to abdicate, and to give his position to Lu Fan. Lu Xian said, "Father, this is the best." Father should let it go and hand it over to my second brother. The great elder nodded and said, Xuanji, you don't owe the Lu family anything, but the Lu family owes you a lot. Others also expressed their opinions. After the meeting, other members of the Lu family were summoned. Most of the cultivators from various places gathered. At the family meeting, Lu Xuanji announced that he would step down as the clan leader. At the same time, Lu Fan was appointed as the clan leader. After stepping down, Lu Xuanji became the supreme elder and retreated behind the scenes. Later, the family made rules that the clan leader must have the giant in cultivation level and the supreme elder must have the Yuan in cultivation level. Usually, the clan leader handles many things, but when encountering some key matters, the supreme elder has the right to interfere or even dismiss the clan leader. Chapter 422 Heading to Wu. Looking back at the ancestral land of the Lu family, Lu Xuanji flashed a trace of sadness and a trace of sadness. Husband, are you reluctant to leave? Jinzi asked. Yes. Lu Xuanji said, I'm not a power-hungry person, but I feel empty in my heart when I suddenly give up the position of patriarch. Husband, you have to learn to adapt. Jinzi said. Lu Xuanji nodded and said, now, where should we go? Husband, do you know how big the state of Chu is? Jinzi asked. The state of Chu is very large, with an area equivalent to 240 billion square kilometers, equivalent to. Lu Xuanji opened the 100 maps map and immediately had the specific territory of the state of Chu. Many gods of transformation are not as good as him in understanding and familiarity with the state of Chu. Thinking of this, Lu Xuanji began to describe the state of Chu, even Yuanzhao, and even the Purple Mansion realm. The surface area of the earth in the previous life was only 510 million square kilometers. The area of just one state of Chu is the surface area of 470 earths. As for the population, because this is a world of immortal cultivation, there is no special government, and there is no specific account book to count the population of mortals, so it is difficult to infer the specific population. But according to his estimate, the population is at least 2 trillion people. This is just one Chu country, and there are also Yu, Wu, Shu and Ashan, etc. outside. Many countries are combined together to form the East Wilderness. The East Wilderness is only a part of Yuanzhao. There are 7 such large states in Yuanzhao. In addition, there are vast oceans, void cracks, some cave worlds, etc. and the area is quite huge. The area of the Purple Mansion realm is as large as the solar system in the previous life, and the length needs to be calculated in light years. There was once a Taoist monk who flew in the air and flew for a full 1,000 years before he walked from the east to the west of the Purple Mansion realm. Not only that, the Purple Mansion realm as a whole is semi-elliptical, and its structure belongs to the round sky and square earth. The outer layer is a thick world fetal membrane. Outside the Purple Mansion realm, there are suns, moons, life planets, desolate planets, etc., which revolve around the Purple Mansion realm. In the operation of the world, it does not conform to Newtonian mechanics, quantum mechanics, relativity, etc., and even Einstein's coffin lid cannot hold it down. However, as long as it exists, it is reasonable. Many seemingly unreasonable things are unreasonable only because of their own lack of knowledge. Standing at another height, you will feel that everything is very reasonable. As he spoke, Lu Xuanji said a lot. Jinzi's expression changed, and he said, Xuanji, how do you know this? It cannot be said. Lu Xuanji said, if I say it, it will be sensed by some powerful people. Many times, as long as you open your mouth to talk, it will be recorded in the cause and effect of heaven and earth, and it will be sensed by some powerful people. At this moment, the mobile phone seems to have become useless, but he always understands that he can get to where he is now, and the mobile phone has contributed a lot. There are countless sentient beings, and countless geniuses in the world. Why is he qualified to become a Yuan cultivator? Is it because he has a big head, or he is handsome? Jinzi nodded and stopped asking. Xuanji, the sun god iron of the Liangai sword I forged has been found, but the Taiyan god iron is still missing. According to some intelligence, the Taiyan god iron may appear in Wu state. Jinzi said, there are 2 possibilities to go to Chu state. One is to go through the East China Sea and take a detour to Wu State. The other is to cross the Xuan Mountains and go to Wu State. But no matter which road you choose, it means danger. If you take the East China Sea route, you will encounter a powerful dragon god. After all, he is a registered number. The route of the Xuan Mountains is also dangerous. If you are surrounded by yuan great monsters, or blocked by god transforming great monsters, you will be in danger of death. Go through the Xuan Mountains, Lu Xuanji said. Jinzi nodded. The Xuan Mountains is a huge mountain range that extends from the northwest to the southeast, stretching for tens of millions of miles. To the north of the Xuan Mountains are Chu State and Yu State, but to the south is Wu State. The territory of the human race and the territory of the demon race are intertwined and intersecting. The region here is extremely complex. There are often human races that capture some areas, and there are also demon races that capture certain areas. The human race and the demon race are mixed together, fighting and cooperating with each other, and love, hatred and vengeance are endless. Using their magical powers, Lu Xuanji and Jinzi quietly left and approached the 10,000 mountains. Looking at the uneven mountains here, and sensing the red and blue dots that appeared on the Beidou map, they felt a little tingling on their scalps. Just looking at the mountains, it is impossible to tell how many demons there are. But with the help of Beidou map, the location and number of demons can be clearly seen. This huge mountain range that stretches endlessly is like a giant dragon, crawling there, stretching endlessly, and the cultivators in front of it seem weak and faint. This mountain range is more than 5 million miles wide. Its mountains are ups and downs, and are formed by the intersection of countless mountains, hills, valleys, lakes, rivers, plains, etc. The spiritual energy here is rich, but it is precisely because of this that the environment is very bad. Poisonous insects and monsters are rampant, and the terrain is also extremely complex, which makes it almost impossible for low-level cultivators to survive. There are also various spiritual veins mixed together here, various rare minerals, various high-level spiritual medicines, various casual cultivators, magic cultivators, demon cultivators, etc. mixed together, fighting for some treasures. The demon clans who are Shenxians also deliberately put some giant and casual cultivators, demon cultivators, etc. in it, and did not encircle and suppress them, but left them to the younger generation of demons as a whetstone. It is equivalent to the catfish effect. Sensing the changes in the pattern here, Lu Xuanji bypassed some mountains of yuan cultivators and caves of giant cultivators. The route he walked was extremely tortuous, and he took a lot of detours, but he also avoided some dangers accordingly. After walking for a month, he finally walked out of the 10,000 mountains, and gradually the Wu Kingdom was in sight. The two also breathed a sigh of relief, and there was no danger on the road. As they walked, an ancient city was in sight. The two hid their breath and entered the city. When he entered, he restrained his aura and transformed into the appearance of a purple mansion cultivator. A purple mansion cultivator's cultivation is neither too strong nor too weak. When he arrived at a shop, Lu Xuanji asked directly, "Do you have map of Wu here?" "Yes," the shopkeeper said. "There are different versions here. The price of a first grade map is 300 spirit stones, a second grade map is 3000 spirit stones, a third grade map is 30,000 spirit stones, and the highest is a fourth grade map, which is 300,000 spirit stones. The higher the grade of the map, the more detailed the information recorded." Lu Xuan said, "Let's get a third grade map." 300,000 low grade spirit stones are just a small thing for him. In order to be safe and keep a low profile, Lu Xuanji only bought a third grade map. Daoyao, wait a moment. After a while, the shopkeeper took a map. Lu Xuanji opened the map and compared it with Beidou maps. He had a new understanding of the situation in Wu. Daoyao, do you need anything else? No, goodbye. Lu Xuanji bought the map and left. At this moment, under the call of the shopkeeper, a waiter appeared and said, "Go out and keep an eye on him. See if this outsider is a fat sheep or a tiger." Chapter 423, Ambush on the road. The shopkeeper instructed. The clerk nodded in agreement, disappeared, and went to check the details of this outsider. As the saying goes, rabbits don't eat grass near their nests. If locals directly rob thieves, it is easy to cause backlash and bring bad reputation. But if it is an outsider, it will be much safer. Just die here, burn in the fire of Tao, turn into ashes, everything is safe. Of course, thieves also have different targets. If the enemy is too strong, it will break your teeth. When you eat it, then you will choose to give up. Similarly, if it is too weak, you will not choose to do it. Because there is little profit after intercepting and killing, it is not worth it. And killing too many customers will also affect the business of the store. If you attract the attention of the ancestor and kill the chicken to scare the monkey directly, it will be a tragedy. In the world of cultivating immortals, there is constant killing and killing people to rob treasures. It is difficult, or even impossible, to make all cultivators become good babies and moral people. But every year, the city lord kills some monks with bad records, to warn some people and to whitewash himself. I'm innocent, but the monks below are evil. Walking out of the shop, Xuanji frowned slightly. I felt a hint of malice. Could it be that someone wants to kill people for treasures? No longer thinking about these, but wandering around the nearby streets to appreciate the scenery of Wu. Chu is a country of sects, with the 3 major sects dominating everything in order. Yu is a country of demon cultivators, with constant killing and fighting, good at fighting, and fierce folk customs. But the cultivators in Wu are famous for their cunning and cruelty. Walking on the stalls, most of them are fakes. There are fake 1000-year-old elixirs, fake golden elixir techniques, fake magic weapons, disguised ancient books, etc. Of course, there are many real ones. I just like to serve people according to their tastes. If I feel that the customer is powerful and not easy to mess with, I will directly recommend some real and high quality goods. But if I see that you are a newbie, young, I will directly recommend some fakes. The process of shopping is a process of intrigue. The process of selling things does not enjoy the pleasure of shopping, but is just too tiring. In this regard, the Chu state is much more simple. Some of the markets in the Chu state directly banned the shops and stalls with fake goods for several years, or even permanently sealed them, resulting in very few fake goods on the market. After walking around, he returned to the cave. Not long after, Xuanji also returned to the cave with a brand new map in his hand. How much does the map cost? Xuanji asked. About 200,000 spirit stones. It is the most detailed map of Yu state, Xuanji said. Xuanji took the map and compared it with the map he bought. He frowned slightly and was cheated by the shopkeeper. After thinking for a while, he began to compare and enter the information on the map. The 100 maps on the mobile phone has complete records of mountains and rivers, cities, and the distribution of some forces in Wu state, the corresponding background of each force, and the corresponding resource output, market layout, etc. But there are still a lot of blanks. Including the map of Yu state in the mobile phone perfectly supplements the lack of information. Xuanji bought some more books and handed them over. Xuanji flipped through these books, collected this information in them, kept comparing them, frowned slightly and said, there are some troubles. The situation in Wu is a bit chaotic. Chu and Yu are both several major forces coexisting together, and they are very competitive. But Wu is different. In Wu, the Li family is the only one that is respected. Legend has it that 10,000 years ago, the Li family gave birth to an unparalleled genius who achieved enlightenment and became a god. He destroyed the Cheyenne sect, Beachy sect, Blood Demon sect and other sects in Wu in one fell swoop and unified Wu. In Wu, the Li family is the only one that is respected. Many shops, mines, and spiritual veins in the territory belong to the Li family or to vassal families of the Li family. When certain forces develop to a certain extent, they will be suppressed by the Li family. They will either be destroyed or migrate to other areas. Now, the Li family has 3 gods in charge. They are big and powerful and not easy to mess with. In Wu, the class solidification is serious, and the Li family cultivators are arrogant and domineering. Xuanji said, after buying the Tei in Divine Iron, we will leave and will not conflict with the Li family. That's right. Xuanji nodded and turned off his phone. He opened his storage bag and began to clean up his belongings and count his assets. 3 nascent soul pills, 2 creation pills, 3 peaches, a creation lotus, a drop of spiritual essence, 2 5th grade spiritual treasures, 3 nascent soul pills, and 100,000 high grade spiritual stones, 500 top grade spiritual stones, etc. These were his assets. As for the treasures below the 5th grade, there was no need to mention them. Many resources were eliminated after the nascent soul because they were useless. For example, low grade spiritual stones, middle grade spiritual stones, etc. were not very useful to nascent soul cultivators and were not much different from the stones on the ground. Only high grade spiritual stones were useful. 4th grade elixirs, 4th grade spiritual medicines, 4th grade spiritual treasures, etc. were also useless. Husband, your family is too rich. Xuanji said, I'm much short of a lot. Only 3 5-element fruits, and 1 Xuanming divine iron. I got all these by robbing, and because of this, I was hunted down by the god of transformation. Now I dare not go to the East China Sea. Xuanji said, with a flash of nostalgia in his eyes. Every Yuanying cultivator is a moving treasure. Every time you kill a Yuanying cultivator, you will make a fortune. It's a pity that Yuanying cultivators have too strong ability to survive, and it's too difficult to kill them. Killing too many will easily trigger the pursuit of the god of transformation. Xuanji thought, according to some intelligence, there will be an auction in the capital of Wu State, and later there will be an exchange meeting, where the Taiyin divine iron may appear. Okay, let's go now, Xuanji said. As he said that, he went to the front, to pay the bill and leave the city. After flying in the air, and walking for thousands of miles, a cultivator suddenly appeared in front of him. It was the shopkeeper. At this time, he exposed his own aura, which was the giant in cultivation. The shopkeeper looked at the 2 people indifferently. 2 juniors, leave some money for passage. Senior, what do you mean? Xuanji asked. You 2 outsiders are very smart. You are also cautious when you come to Wu. It's a pity that you still reveal some flaws. You spend money lavishly and don't know how to bargain. You can see that you are the 2nd generation of cultivators and rich people at a glance. The shopkeeper said indifferently, I like to kill such fat sheep. Senior, my father is the Yuanying's engine. Xuanji said. Haha, so what, if he dares to come to Wu to seek justice, my grandfather dares to kill him. The shopkeeper said indifferently. He waved his hand to capture him. His expression was calm, as if he was going to crush an ant to death. He was a cautious person, and had investigated the information of the 2 people before robbing. These 2 people are both lavish, and don't know how to bargain. They are very familiar with some basic cultivation knowledge, but they are not familiar with some common sense. These 2 people are the 2nd generation of cultivators. They are big fat sheep, and they will get fat after killing them. Chapter 424 Father, I will avenge me. The palm of his hand came to capture him, but the next moment, the void seemed to be imprisoned. Under a strong pressure, the mana on his body dissipated like ice and snow. The shopkeeper was horrified, and was about to activate the token in his danshan. In the danshan, there was a gold metal that could burst out a Yuanying attack. But the next moment, the gold metal flew out and landed on the palm of the junior, and then a faint pressure came down to suppress him. The shopkeeper wanted to resist, but the power on his body dissipated, and he fell to the ground with a plop. Senior, spare my life. The shopkeeper immediately said. Even though he was slow-witted, he knew that the 2nd generation of cultivators in front of him, this fat sheep, was a Yuanying's engine. Only Yuanying's engine could suppress him in a thought. He couldn't help but groan in pain, but Daoyan was still pecked in the eye. Before killing people and seizing treasures every time, you must carefully investigate and analyze the target, determine the opponent's information, and then take action, and be extremely cautious before taking action. But he still failed. Interesting. Xuanji said with a smile. What's your name, fellow Taoist? Junior, I'm just an insignificant little cultivator of the Li family. Please let me go. Senior, the shopkeeper said, trembling immediately, kneeling on the ground and kowtowed. The ground was buzzing when he kowtowed. He looked like a coward who was afraid of death. Xuanji frowned slightly, but he felt that the shopkeeper's heart was still beating, and his breathing was extremely normal. The so-called trembling appearance was just a disguise. The fact is also true. When you reach the Jindan realm, you have lived for hundreds of years and have a very high psychological quality. Whether it is emotional intelligence or IQ, you are first class. In other words, even if you have a bad state of mind and poor tolerance, you have been tempered for hundreds of years and have long been calm and wise. As for those with a bad state of mind, they have long fallen under the 3 disasters of the Jindan. Senior, this is my storage bag. I'm willing to redeem my life. The shopkeeper handed over the storage bag while trembling. Interesting. Xuanji smiled and waved to take the storage bag. The next moment, the storage bag made a slight sound and exploded. The destructive explosion force tore everything apart, and the destructive lightning force destroyed everything, as if a Yuanying cultivator had issued a fatal blow. Within a radius of 10 miles, the destructive lightning swept through and tore everything apart. Run. The next moment, the shopkeeper turned into a stream of light and fled for his life. In an instant, he was 20 miles away. The blood evil thunder can only seriously injure him, but it can't kill him. It's best to escape to a big city. The shopkeeper was horrified. He took out the teleportation jade talisman with his right hand and activated the jade talisman to teleport over a long distance and escape for his life. The next moment, a long knife appeared and cut towards his wrist. Suddenly, his wrist broke and fell to the ground. The teleportation jade talisman also fell into the hands of a cultivator. Gold medals to save lives, bloody thunderbolts, teleporting jade talismans. There are many ways to save lives. What else can we do? Xuanji laughed. His expression was cold and ironic. Senior, spare my life. The shopkeeper said. Swish. In the next moment, a knife flashed, and all life was wiped out. There was anger and unwillingness in the shopkeeper's eyes, but more of a sigh. He wanted to say that my father would avenge me. But before he could finish his words, the shopkeeper fell to the ground. At this moment, a bloody mark flew out of the shopkeeper's body and fell on Xuanji's body. 9-color divine sword. Cut. Xuanji urged the long sword to cut out, accompanied by the flash of the sword, and cut on the blood mark, and the blood mark was broken immediately. Bloodline tracking mark. If you kill the Li family cultivator, you will be hit by the bloodline mark. Locate the enemy, and then send strong men to chase and kill. Sensing the blood mark, Xuanji secretly thought he was lucky. Such a blood mark, ordinary Jindan cultivators, or weak Yuanying cultivators, can't get rid of the mark at all. Only his means are sophisticated and ruthless, so he can cut off the blood mark with one sword. Swish. Xuanji stepped forward and began to search the corpse. After searching, he found another storage bag. This storage bag contains various treasures. When he was about to open the storage bag, the array pattern inside suddenly surged, and the storage bag exploded. The wave of destruction swept over, and he was immediately covered in dust and embarrassed. Ahem. After coughing, Xuanji thought to himself, this storage bag is a bomb again. There is a special method to open the storage bag of the Li family cultivators. If the method is not right, the storage bag will explode, and the treasures and resources inside will be shattered. This is to prevent the treasures from falling into the hands of the enemy after their death. Xuanji said. Xuanji then remembered the record in a certain book that the Li family, a family of immortal cultivators, had developed a confidential storage bag that could protect their property. In essence, it is similar to a safe. If there is a password, the safe can be opened. If the password fails to match, the safe will trigger a bomb and blow up everything in the safe. The Li family is so wicked. Xuanji cursed. He wanted to touch the corpse to find treasures, but who would have thought that the storage bag would explode? Since entering the world of immortal cultivators, he has encountered countless enemies and killed countless opponents, but the storage bags of these opponents all have no passwords. As long as the enemy is killed, the treasure inside can be easily obtained, but the Li family is an exception. Xuanji was a little angry and was about to activate the pure yang true fire to burn the corpse. But thinking that it would expose his identity, he immediately turned into another kind of spiritual fire and burned away. After a few breaths, the corpse turned into ashes. With the strong wind blowing, the dust dissipated. He activated the token again, and the token suddenly burst out with a destructive sword energy, killing, and the power was comparable to the third level of the nascent soul. Boom boom boom. The void exploded in the treasure, and the sword energy was condensed and sharp, with great destructive power. The sword energy tore the ground, and carved a huge gully on the ground. With the release of the sword energy, the golden token also shattered on the spot. "Let's go," Xuanji said. Jinzi nodded, and the two activated the golden escape light and disappeared. It was not until a quarter of an hour later that a cultivator discovered the abnormality here. Soon after, he reported it to the higher level and passed the news layer by layer. 3 days later, an ascent soul true lord of the Li family received the news. "Son, you died tragically. Your father must avenge you." On the main hall of the Li family, there was a coffin. There was no body inside, only some clothes. The man in black stood in front of the mausoleum and said with gritted teeth, "You think I can't find you if you erase all traces and leave without a trace? How can things end so easily?" The murderer was very smart and erased all traces, but he still determined the corresponding targets and found some suspects through the movement of monks and the action patterns of some monks. Chapter 425, Capital of Wu. There is no unsolved case in the world. As long as you investigate carefully, you can find out the truth of the case. When they arrived in Wu, Xuanji and Jinzi were extremely cautious. Not only did they change their appearance, but their aura also changed. Even some of the magical skills they used were changed. Even their appearance changed several times, and they used some magic weapons to disrupt their own secrets. Some masters used secret skills to deduce, but it was also vague. It seems that it is almost impossible to find the murderer. However, as long as you sort out certain things and summarize some events, you can find the rules and accurately locate the murderer. The murderer is a foreign cultivator, and his accent is that of the Chu state. He is a cultivator from the Chu state. The murderer is very powerful, at least a giant cultivator, or even a Yuanying cultivator. There are very few cultivators who have both of these conditions. As long as we investigate, we can find out his identity. Soon, there will be an auction and an exchange meeting in the capital of the Wu state. At that time, there will be giant cultivators and Yuanying cultivators, and they will not be able to hide their identities at all. By then, everything will be certain. Master Yang Gai pondered, guessing the identity of the murderer, and vaguely determined the direction of the murderer. It is easy to find the murderer after finding the direction. The world is big, and there are many cultivators. When most of the traces and evidence are erased, it is very difficult to find the murderer, but in fact, because of the auctions and trade fairs in the near future, the murderer will definitely come, and the range will be very small at that time. "When I find you, I will tear your tendons and skin you," Master Yang Gai said murderously. Urging the golden light to the ground, the two disappeared. A moment later, they were already tens of thousands of miles away. Not only did his appearance change, his aura, and even his realm were automatically upgraded to Giandan, perfectly hiding everything and becoming invisible. "Xuanji, we killed a Giandan of the Li family, will there be trouble?" Jinzi worried. "Although you have erased many traces, as long as we conduct a detailed investigation, we can still find your traces. Why don't we leave Wu?" Xuanji frowned and said, "Life is a constant struggle. It's nothing more than fighting against the enemy. As long as the gods don't take action, there will be no big problem." Jinzi nodded. Without saying anything more, he moved forward along the map. After walking for 3 days, the huge capital city appeared. The city wall was built with black bricks and was 100 meters high. There were monks walking back and forth on the city wall to patrol. In the west, there were 3 large city gates, and monks were going in and out. There were also monks checking something. At the gate of the city, there is a special mirror magic weapon detection, which can detect the realm, appearance, identity, etc. of the cultivator. Any vest, any forged identity, will be exposed here. The management here is extremely strict, like a military fortress. In fact, the Wu Kingdom has to fight against the demons in the 10,000 mountains to the north, and the demons in the East China Sea. The battle pressure is quite huge, and there are often bloody battles, which makes the atmosphere here quite depressing. The capital of the Wu Kingdom is a large military fortress. "Zia, you enter the Dongshan Pearl," Xuanji said. "Okay." Jinzi nodded. "That is, enter the Dongshan Pearl and hide." Seeing that Jinzi was hidden, Xuanji walked towards the city gate. At the gate of the city, Xuanji took off all disguises and showed his true face and original realm of cultivation. The mirror at the gate of the city shone slightly, and suddenly a lot of information appeared. Greetings, Master. At the gate, the Purple Mansion General said respectfully, "Where do you come from? What's your name? So we can keep a record of it?" Xuanji said, "Chu, Master Xuanji. Master, please wait." As he spoke, the Purple Mansion General took out a token and handed it over respectfully. Xuanji observed it and immediately became familiar with the nature of the token. This token was forged with a special material, which was equivalent to an ID card. It could be used to locate the location. With the help of this token, the location of certain cultivators could be locked. It could also be used to enter some shops in the imperial capital and give some discounts. "Thank you," Xuanji said, and took the token and entered the imperial capital of Wu. Entering the capital, the floor was cold, the walls were rough and heavy, and the buildings here were solid and tall. There was no sense of elegance, but it was the evolution of defense to the extreme. Every house and every building here was a small fortress. Breaking through the outer wall was only the first step. "Senior, do you need a guide? Only 10 spiritual stones are needed a day." At this time, a young man came forward and said, he was 13 years old, his clothes were simple, and they seemed to have been washed several times, and they looked a little white. The young man was only at the 3rd level of key training, weak and pitiful. As for spiritual roots, he only had 5 spiritual roots. Such qualifications and such understanding belong to a very ordinary class of people among the masses. "Okay," Xuanji said, handing over 10 spiritual stones. "Senior, what do you want to buy?" the boy asked. "Sun God An," Xuanji said. "Senior, that's a 5th grade spiritual material." The boy was slightly surprised and said, "My life magic weapon, to upgrade to a 5th grade spiritual treasure, I still lack some materials." Xuanji said, "Senior, are you a Yuaning's engine?" the boy said with a slight tremor. "Yes," Xuanji said. "Senior, if you want to buy 5th grade spiritual materials, it's best to go to the largest store in the city, which is Dongsheng Building. That's the Li family store, and there may be materials that you need." The young man said, "But the price of the transaction in that store is also very expensive. Lead the way," Xuanji said. The young man nodded, led the way, and soon arrived at the center of the city. Here, a huge attic appeared, about hundreds of meters high. At the door, there were 2 stone lions, exuding a trace of terrifying aura. These were Giant level puppet beasts. They had killed 2 Giant level monsters, and after killing them, they were refined into puppets and placed at the door to guard the gate, which also showed the majesty of the store. Stepping into the store, a female cultivator immediately stepped forward and said respectfully, "Senior, what do you need to buy? Here, is there any Sun God An?" Xuanji asked. "Senior, wait a moment, the price of Sun God Iron is expensive. I can't make the decision yet. I want to ask the shopkeeper," the female cultivator said, and disappeared. A moment later, another woman in palace dress appeared. She was wearing a white dress, tall and graceful, but there was a murderous look between her brows, and there was a trace of destructive energy when she raised her hands and feet. The aura of a Yuaning's engine was just like that of a Yuaning's engine. "Daoao, are you polite? Daoao, you don't seem to be from my Wu country. I'm from the Chu country. I came to Wu to buy some 5th grade spiritual materials. Do you have Sun God Iron here?" Xuanji asked. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.